Peace, love, knowledge, and freedom, and welcome to another episode of the Just Seen podcast. This episode is gonna be like, me being like whoa. I know I play quite frequently, but I'm gonna be very, very serious in this one, as serious as I could possibly be. You feel me? But this episode is gonna be on this master reset that is coming. Like, a lot of people have not been paying attention to what's going on. And I'm not just talking about like in the media and the distractions of the world. I mean the earth. You feel me? Because we get so wrapped up in what the world is doing that we can't see what the earth is doing. Those are two different entities, like as far as what the connection is. You feel what I'm saying? There's that divide, the world, the earth, religion, spirituality, you feel me? The other crazy shit, the different polarities that split each other. So in light of recent events, especially the year being 2020, I want to just talk about this. Now, I'm about to be extra woke in this one, if I didn't say that already, just to give a heads up. But in this wokeness, understand I'm not just gonna be pulling shit out of my ass. I'm gonna give you where I get these references from, why I feel this type of way, and why I say these things, because right now what is happening is that there's a major shift that is occurring. A lot of this stuff I spoke on in previous episodes, but some of my episodes run far back. So, and I don't even remember exactly which episodes I put it in, but some of the stuff is from previous episodes, and those previous episodes are a lot more detailed. So I might touch up on a little pieces of that as I, go over this one. But this master reset that is occurring, right? It's a quote unquote time lapse collapse, a timeline collapse, a shift, a paradigm shift, or whatever the case may be, whatever it is that you call it. This was supposed to happen according to the earth. Not necessarily according to the world, but according to earth. And by earth, I mean nature, the stars, the moon, the sun. All of these things have been written and documented over time. However, because in the documentation of them being written from anthropomorphized perspectives, which is, giving things human characteristics and shit, we got so diluted, because I'm not going to say dumbed down. We got so diluted to the information that we were constantly seeing that we were not able to take a step back and look at the earth and see all the things that are going on. So now a lot of this shit might be, like I said, motherfuckers going to see it as conspiracy. And I also always say there is no truth. There's only things that you could justify. Truth is relative to the experiencer. So I'm not going to come up here and say, I'm speaking truth and all of this shit, but I'm going to give the information as to why I feel and and then how I see this shit. You feel what I'm saying? And how it's like kind of right in our faces. But this master reset, what this is not necessarily a reset, like it's hitting a reset button. It's a full transition into a different perspective, right? A different mode of life, a different age of thought, right? There's nothing that we can stop about this. Now, the characters that are playing their certain roles and shit like that, like I'm not going to be on that, that person was picked here, that person was picked here. It just so happens that certain things are playing out the way they are. But it's a part of the grand scheme of things. The characters and the details are irrelevant. They can be used and they are used to make the certain justifications, but it's the principles that you have to see that is really going on. So that's what I'm going to talk about. But, I don't want to dwell too much on that right now, because when I dive into it, I want to dive into it. But before I do, be sure to follow me on Instagram _just_seen_. Be sure to hit my website up at IamJustSeen.com to get all things that are just seen. To all people who tip, sponsor, and donate to the podcast, I thank you so much. You are greatly appreciated. To all those who would like to tip, donate, and sponsor to the podcast, you can do so by clicking the link in the description of your podcast. Remember, not the episode, but the podcast itself. Or you can find my information. Cash App and PayPal is just fine. And we're gonna dive into it. And this one is gonna be a different one. Because like I said, just the way recent events are playing out, and I see a lot of people just like panicking. And it's like this shit it's like either you're coming or staying. You feel me? You're coming to stand. And that's what this master reset is about. So without further ado, we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back into it, we're going to hop into impromptu pop-ups. I think this is like the 10th one by now. Impromptu pop-ups, the master reset. Oh yeah, and don't forget to visit IamJustSeen.com. There you can get all things Just Seen. You want to add the Soul series to your library? Visit IamJustSeen.com. You want to learn how to master the market for serious trading and investing? Visit IamJustSeen.com. You want to get your hands on some exclusive merch like tees, hoodies, coffee mugs, hats, bags? Visit IamJustSeen.com. Are you thinking about transitioning into the plant-based lifestyle? Visit IamJustSeen.com. You ever want to just chat with Seen about anything from simple advice to mentorship? Visit IamJustSeen.com. Anything and everything that is me, you can find at IamJustSeen.com. So just take a quick peek into my world and see why being just seen is nothing less but always more. Because you never really know what you need until you see it. You will never see it unless you visit IamJustSeen.com. All right. Welcome back. So without further ado, we're going to get started. The first place I want to start with this is the baby boomers and the millennials, right? Baby boomers, I guess Gen Z, and then the millennials, right? So the reason why that is an important focus first, not just in America, but I mean across the world, right? That epoch of that generation, right? The baby boomers, they came from, if I'm not mistaken, I want to say it was after World War II. I don't know. We've been fighting forever. It could have been any war. I'm pretty sure it's World War II. But like after the war, the baby boomers came about. The populations boomed. Like the kids started going. Like that was a significant point in time. The baby boomers, right? Collectively, because we're in a world war, right? So when all of the wars happened, all the soldiers came back home. They started popping babies out. Boom, 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 boom. That's where the term baby boomer came out, because the population increased dramatically. It was the highest it's been. Right, that population was created, and labeled the baby boomers for a reason, right? And that reason being because they boomed, the babies just boomed, right? But you put certain titles on certain generations for a reason, because you have to carry a certain timestamp. It helps you follow a timestamp, because the generations are between a certain time bracket. You feel me? Because when we look at baby boomers and shit, like technically they should only be for those people that happen within like I'll be lenient and say a 1 to 5 year time pocket. Now, every generation that they're giving us runs for damn near like a 15 to 20 year time pocket. You feel what I'm saying? A 15 to 20 year time pocket, roughly about, right? And it's very important that this is known, because now it's going to what I'm going to say is going to make sense as I go on, and please assume, with all of the shit that you hear, assume that I'm lying and go fact check me, right? Go fact check me. Go with the desire to prove me wrong. Please do. You feel me? Don't just take what I'm saying and say, oh, he's speaking that shit. Don't do that shit, because I want you to, challenge what I'm saying, learn what I'm saying. Like I'm confident in what I'm talking about, but I want you to assume that I'm lying this whole time. Assume that I'm lying, and your intent when you go fact check the shit that I'm saying is to prove me wrong. Please do it. So anyway, the baby boomers are our own generation as itself. Millennials are another. Gen Z sits in between that. It's very important that generation was called Gen Z. Z is the last letter of the alphabet, the English alphabet anyway. So it's the last letter of the alphabet, right? So when you look at the baby boomers, Gen Z, then the millennials, the reason why Gen Z is in the middle, Gen Z is like a flux. It is a timestamp between one life and another. You feel me? One era and another, because each one of these things are eras, right? But the reason why they had to specifically be called Gen Z, because that generation marks the end of something. Z is the end. It's the last letter of the alphabet. They're the Z generation. And then next after the Gen Z, you have the millennials. You feel what I'm saying? So it's like, how can you have that epoch? So with the baby boomers being those born, what is it, between in the 60s, like the 60s, late 50s, 60s to early 70s or some shit like that. And then the Gen Z is like the early 70s up into the mid 80s. And then the millennials are pretty much the mid to late 80s to the early 90s babies, right? And it's important for that, because that has relevance astrologically. It has relevance astrologically, and the astrological relevance that it has is to the planet Pluto. Um, the planet Pluto, it has a certain time frame in which it stays within a specific zodiac sign, right? We know Pluto, if you study astrology, Pluto is like a transformative planet. It has a lot of transformative energies with it, right? So millennials are typically born between with their Pluto placement in the sign of Scorpio, right? So if your birthday was between November of November of like 83, 85-ish to November of 95, you have roughly about, a lot of people have Pluto in Scorpio, right? You know, Scorpio is also transformative energy. Pluto's transformative energy. We're born as a generation who has the propensity to transform, right? Some of us in that pocket don't have it. The reason, and if you don't have it, is because it was in a retrograde. If Pluto was in a retrograde, it went back a sign. So the sign before Scorpio is, it's not Leo, is it? Leo, Scorpio. Is it Leo or Virgo? No, it's Leo, Virgo, Scorpio. Yeah, so it's Virgo. So chances are, if you don't have it in Scorpio, it's going to be in Leo. In Virgo, right? Because it had that retrograde. Now, this now goes back into Gen Z. Gen Z would typically have their Pluto in Virgo. And then you have those who were in that time pocket who don't have it because there was a retrograde. And that retrograde then would have put Pluto back into Virgo, Leo. And with it being in Leo, that's where you get the baby boomers. So we have different responsibilities that we're supposed to have in regards to transforming the world. Millennials are transforming transformers. You feel me? With them, because of, the Scorpio energy, being in the sign of Virgo, grounded stability, being in the sign of Leo, it's, fire sign courage and all of that shit, and, bold confidence. So if you look at our baby boomers, right, I'm gonna get into a deeper aspect too from an astrological perspective, right? So then when you look at the baby boomers, right, typically if they have that placement within the sign of Leo or whatever the case may be, they are bold in what they say, but the reason why, and bold in what they're saying, what they do, and they're stubborn. They're not willing to change their ways, because it's like, I'm so confident in what I am, but they're confident in things that they just believe. And the millennials are those who are in the process of transforming things. This is where the battle comes in. Gen Z is just a stepping stone. I don't want to come off like rude or disrespectful or anything like that, but Gen Z is just the intermediary point. This is why there's so much hostility and beef between millennials and baby boomers. Millennials are looking at like, y'all fucked the world up for us, and now we got to change the shit. Baby boomers are like, yo, y'all did this, that, and the third. When I was your age, I did blah, 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 blah. Gen Z fluctuates in the middle. Gen Z operates between those who are can simultaneously fuck with the millennials, or they're either going to fuck with the millennials, or Gen Z is either going to fuck with the baby boomers. This is evident. If the proof is in the position of, if you look at these recent elections within these last, and I'm going to get to the significance of these elections too. If you look at these elections presidential wise in America, between, basically between the baby boomers and the millennials, right? Gen Z is a defining piece that's moving in silence and nobody's really paying attention to. You feel what I'm saying? And it's important because it's like Gen Z is picking a side. Gen Z is like, okay, we're going to sway to this way. In the first, let's say, okay, so the 2016 election, right? Gen Z, they swayed. Like millennials stuck one side, baby boomers stuck another side. The Gen Z swayed. Some of the Gen Z swayed, more of the Gen Z swayed towards the baby boomers. This go around, more of the Gen Z swayed towards the millennials. You feel what I'm saying? Which is important because this is why the duality comes in, why you have to have a political party to pick a side. You feel what I'm saying? Because it's about targeting a generation. It's about targeting the specific generation and knowing the generation that's going to make these certain changes, right? Like I said, I'm going to give my information as to, to document I'm going to give my substantiation. This isn't just going to be some woke rhetoric that I'm just talking to, I'm woke, believe me. No, fuck that. I'm going to give you solid information that you can go research and check out. So with the millennials, and the baby boomers at the battle with Gen Z in the middle, and Gen Z being the end of something. What is that the end of? What is Gen Z actually the end of? Right? And Gen Z, that generation literally marks the last people born under the Piscean age. So we have astrologically, you have the zodiac signs that govern the earth, and, different seasons that run, Aries, Taurus, Cancer, all the way on till you come back around to Pisces and shit, right? Now, it's important to know that on earth, those same energies are important all over. You feel what I'm saying? They also affect the cosmological side too. So, the difference between the earthly side and then the cosmological side is what I, refer to it as, is that it moves in the opposite direction. The earth moves clockwise. The astrological side moves counterclockwise. So Gen Z marks the end of the Piscean age, and millennials mark the beginning of the Aquarian age, right? If you understand astrology, Pisces, the template of Pisces is I believe. The template of the Aquarius is I know, right? So literally in real time, the battle between the millennials and the millennials and the baby boomers is knowing versus believing. Gen Z is stuck in the middle between that. Some Gen Z are knowers, some Gen Z are believers. You feel what I'm saying? And that's where the battle is coming in. We left the age of belief. Gen Z marks the end of that. So, first, I'm going to use the actual historical scientific mathematical reference. Then I'm also going to use a biblical reference to show how this was all spoken on. You feel me? From the scientific aspect, right? There's a region in Kemet, Egypt, in Africa, called Nabta Playa, Naptaplay. You feel what I'm saying? That is it's not spoken on much when you talk about Egyptian dynasties and things of that nature in the mainstream. You feel me? Mainstream, they talk about the pyramid and the Sphinx. That's pretty much it. Pyramid, Sphinx, and sarcophaguses and fucking pharaohs and all of that shit. That's what they talk about mainly, right? But what they won't tell you is that there's a region called Nabta Playa. And the reason why, and what Nabta Playa is, well, first, before I say that, let me say this. When they do talk about the pyramids, one thing that they do leave out about the pyramids is that they're, Khufu, Khafre, and Menkaure. I think those are the names. I could be wrong, but I think those are the names of the three pyramids. They're aligned with the 3 points of Orion's belt, astrologically, like almost down to a motherfucking T. The science was done that way. A lot of the monuments that are around the world that melanated indigenous people, original people built were in line with the stars. It's the reason they were in line with the stars, because they kept chronology. You feel me? They kept chronology, not just basic. They didn't keep chronology like a watch on a basic scale, like the second. They kept large scale chronology. So with Orion's belt being aligned to the three pyramids, the 3 points of the pyramids, it kind of set the tone to go into to what I'm about to talk about in the next phase. So with Nabta Playa is a region that the stone structure, it chronicles the fucking timestamps of the cosmological astrology, right? So with cosmological astrology, that Nabta Playa region, what they chart is a 26,000 year calendar. Now, it's not exactly 26,000 years. It's about like 25,940 something, right? But these years are very, very significant because it still honors the 12 zodiac signs, because each sign spins its respective amount within that time frame. So Nabta Playa charts that each zodiac sign spends about 2,100 years in its sign, right? Which is very, very important, because with it being counted counterclockwise, with it being counted against what the Earth's rotation goes, it goes the other way. So it goes Aries, Pisces, Aquarius, right? So this is important because when we look at Gen Z, as I said, they're the last of the Piscean age, and the millennials are the first of the Aquarian age. It's very, very important that we understand why they call us millennials. They be like, oh, you're millennials because it's the new generation. No, it's millennial as in the word millennium. millennia, right? We're the start of the next 2,000 years, 2,100 years. We're the next of that start, that age. You feel what I'm saying? Follow me on this. We're the next of that age. So the millennials are for the millennia, which means we're responsible for shifting an entire paradigm. Hence why our zodiac placement collectively from late 80s to early 90s babies has Pluto and Scorpio, transformative energy, unless you had that retrograde that put it in Virgo. But most of us collectively have Pluto and Scorpio. You feel what I'm saying? Because it runs for a certain time pocket, which gives you the generation. So now, biblically, well, first let me finish off with Noctiplaya. So with Noctiplaya, with Noctiplaya, what they do is they've charted that. Now, it's very important to know how you can chart a 26,000 year calendar, because you have to have occurrence, you have to have an incident, you have to have a coincidence, and then you have to have incident, coincident, and then you have pattern. You feel me? After something happens 3 times, then you can say, this shit happens all the time. Let's chart this. Let's repeat this pattern. Let's see how many times it repeats. So to build a stone monument of some time, they had to at least be here for, 26 times 3, 78,000 years. So at least 78,000 years of specific, detailed information passed down, several times over in order to do this, in order to see that this is something that is happening, right? So they chronicalized that. You dig what I'm saying? They chronicalized that and they wrote the information down. But like I said, they anthropomorphized a lot of things, which means they gave it human characteristics to be better understood. You feel what I'm saying? And this is why when I talk about religion, I always tell people you have to understand the 3 tiers: the mythology, the ritual, and allegory, right? All the mythology, the religions tell everything that is going on right now in nature, but because they give specific detailed characters, you think that is about a person, right? But it's really not. So millennials are the start of the age of the Aquarius, right? Baby boomers are the start, are the baby boomers and Gen Z are the end. Well, the baby boomers are the end of the Piscean age. Gen Z is the overlap. Gen Z is the overlap. That's why Gen Z is stuck trying to pick a side. You feel me? Do I rock with the millennials or do I rock with the baby boomers? You feel what I'm saying? Millennials are pretty much disconnected from the baby boomers. You feel me? So this master reset is not in the sense, they're going to start like, yes, everything has to start from scratch. It has to start new, because the Aquarian age, you cannot do anything Piscean in the Aquarian age, because you're going from believing to knowing. You can't believe anything anymore. Now it's all about knowledge. This is why the things have moved the way they're doing. And this master reset is literally showing who's going to go forward and who's going to get left behind. If knowledge fucks with your mind, it fucks with your belief system, and you can't make the changes once you get the knowledge that may nullify it or support it or whatever the case may be, you're going to be stuck, because that age of knowledge is going to come at a rapid pace. All of the information is going to start coming out at a different rate. You feel what I'm saying? If you look at how quick we can get technology, like we get information as millennials way at a higher rate than baby boomers ever had the chance to get information. What would it took a baby boomer a good 6-7 years to get, we can get in 5 days. You see what I'm saying? Because we have smartphones, we have advanced technology, we have things. This was all strategically done to be prepared for this. You feel me? So keep that in mind. So now that's the I guess the current position. And then you have the position from, the Noctiplaya, that they created that to create the zodiac sign to show that we're going from the age of Pisces to the age of Aquarius. Another important point was the Mayan calendar. They've been talking about that shit since 2012. Even to now, they're like, oh, the Mayans had it wrong. It wasn't 2012, it was 2021. It's all of it, because it's a 2,100 year time frame. So the specific small years don't really matter because the age is shifting. But right now, the baby boomers mark the end and the millennials mark the beginning of 2 different ages. So when the Mayans predicted, the world's going to end, everybody went, like, the baby boomers freaked the fuck out. The world is going to end. They freaked out several times over. They did it in Y2K, the year 2000. Why do you think the year 2000 itself was such a significant point? I'm going to explain why. But the year 2000 itself, the world's going to come to an end. That was the first scare. Nothing happened at, midnight, 1999, everything. Oh, nothing happened? Oh, shit. Okay, well, maybe it's going to be later. Then they find a Mayan calendar. Oh, it's 2012, definitely. Motherfuckers losing their shit again. Millennials never panicked. Gen Z, it was torn between, do I panic or do I not? You feel what I'm saying? But the baby boomers lost their shit. You feel me? Baby boomers still believe we're in the last days of the last days, and we are. But it's not like the world is going to end. The age is going to be over. The age is over. It's done. It is done. I'm explaining that shit from the biblical side too. But the age is done. But when you have the sense of belief and you've been told what you were told to believe in, you feel what I'm saying? You have to understand these things the only way that you know how. The millennials have tapped into that Aquarian age energy to where they're able to know and do the research to actually know what's going on. You feel what I'm saying? Should they choose to. So when the Mayans predicted the end of the world, it wasn't the end of the world, it was the end of the age. So whether it was the year 2000, whether it was 2012 or 2021, you see it's only 21 years. 21 years are really negligible when you look at a 2100-year time pocket. You feel what I'm saying? That's why they look at, oh, it's about 2,000 years, y'all. It's time to start paying attention. You feel what I'm saying? This is why it's so very important that you pay attention to not calendars, but patterns. Because now we're in the Gregorian calendar and they're like, yo, we're in the year 2000. We're not. We can't be in the year 2000 if the earth is supposed to be a couple million years, 65 million years old. Don't work. We can't be in the year 2000. Right? However, they shifted the calendar, but what they can never shift and what they would never shift was the timestamp, the actual timestamp of the ages. You dig what I'm saying? Follow me on this. They shifted it from the timestamp of the ages. So every age is still going to be roughly about 2100 years, and they're going to make sure they keep that timestamp locked in. You feel what I'm saying? And here's how they kept that timestamp locked in. Biblically, they use BC and AD, right? We're in what? The year 2020 BC, right? I mean AD, after death, before Christ, whatever the case. The reason why Christ is used as a template is not, and for my religious people, y'all know I talk shit, but this is why I talk shit. You feel what I'm saying? Because there's levels to the shit. But the reason why Christ marks a very important piece is because the stories have always been told that when he was coming, it was never him coming in the sense of a physical person coming to do certain things. It was the mark of an age. And I'm going to explain exactly what I mean by the mark of an age. So we have the documentation from Noptoplaya, the actual part like that. We have the Mayan calendar. We have several things that have shown us in every 2100 years, things are happening. The calendars are about cycles. So it's never about the end of the world. It's the end of the age, right? So biblically, you feel me? I'm pretty sure it's somewhere in the Quran too, but this is kind of like my medium because I grew up on this shit. But in the biblical stance, right? Old Testament to New Testament. Those are real important pieces because Old Testament chronicalizes the Aries age, and the New Testament is the Pisces age, right? I'm going to explain how all of this shit makes sense, right? So the Old Testament, when we look at the stories of the Old Testament, what was the main theme? War and destruction. Everything was about war and destruction. What is Aries? What is Aries? Because like I said, when you understand the cosmological astrology, it's reversed. So that it goes Aries, Pisces, Aquarius, as opposed to Aries, Taurus, Cancer. You see what I'm saying? So the Old Testament marks the age of Aries. It gives you details that stand over the principles of what the Aryan age would be, the Aries energy, right? This is why the Old Testament is flooded with war. The motherfucker was just smiting and killing motherfuckers like a motherfucker. Like, it was just like, yo, everything was a war. Everything was a war. Put to the sword all men, women, children, cattle. Everything was war based. Everything was war mentality, to the point where even some of the greatest kings of that book, they did war ridden shit. You feel what I'm saying? For example, King David, when he wanted to take Bathsheba away from Uriah the Hittite, which was his best friend, foul shit. Now, this ain't Aries shit, but I'm just saying, I'm speaking on the context. Aries, I don't know, like humans would do some shit like this, but I don't want to put this on Aries because you know how motherfuckers do. But anyway, when like King David, when he wanted Bathsheba, which was quote unquote what he said was the most beautiful woman in all the land or whatever the case may be, he wanted to take her from his best friend Uriah the Hittite. So he told his homeboy Jonathan, hey, look, bro, make sure he's at the front of the line so he could die first so I can have his wife, right? War ridden. You feel what I'm saying? King Solomon, he was quote unquote the wisest man of the land based off of war, because when the women came to him arguing about the baby, they said, well, this is my baby. They said, no, this is my baby. So what was King Solomon's resolve? He said, split the baby in half and give them both a piece. That's war-ridden shit, barbaric shit. That's Aries shit. That's Aries energy. You feel what I'm saying? He said, split the baby in half and get both. And one lady said, fuck that. Don't cut my baby in half. Just look, give her the whole thing. And he said, well, that means that the baby belongs to you because you won't cut it. But there was another woman who was willing to, split that motherfucker in half. War energy. You feel what I'm saying? That's war energy. Another instance is when, from the birth, when Eve birthed Cain and Abel. You feel what I'm saying? Cain killed his own brother. War energy. You feel what I'm saying? It's war energy. So the Old Testament was all about war energy. It was about energy of which is Aries energy. You feel what I'm saying? Action, impulse, the quote unquote fiery ram, like all of that was there. You feel what I'm saying? And that's why the whole theme of the Old Testament was war. But in the Old Testament, they kept prophesying the Savior is going to come. Somebody's going to change. He's going to be this. He's going to be loving. He's going to be all of this. So when Jesus comes, Jesus marks the start of the Piscean age. This is why it's very, very important that when you study the religion, they say this is why they have the AD and BC thing, because we're going to use Jesus as the timestamp of this astrological principle. We're not going to tell them it's about an astrological principle. You feel me? That they're coming into the age of Pisces. But what we're going to tell them is that he was a real person. He walked, he lived, blah, 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 blah. We're not going to give him anything else, but we're going to paint this narrative. And we're going to give them the mythology, but not the ritual and the allegory to what it really represents. So when Jesus comes in, so all the prophets of the Bible kept saying, yeah, there's going to be the Savior is going to come, the Son of Man is going to come, and all of these things. And all of the details will throw you off as to what you're supposed to be looking at until you see the principles, until you see the consistent theme that happens in the New Testament. So after the Old Testament, we shifted to the New Testament. What happens? Who's the biggest person in the New Testament? Jesus, right? It's important to know that. And it's like, this is why they say when the New Testament hit, it was a new covenant. They said the old covenant is gone, which is the old covenant, which was the Old Testament, which was the Aries age. You feel what I'm saying? So when we look at it from being the Aries age perspective, it's like, okay, does war stop? Nah, war doesn't stop, of course, but the war energy of the world is gone. Now we're shifting into the age of Pisces. So that's what they were saying when he was coming back. He was going to be somebody who's going to, and what is Jesus's theme? So in addition to Pisces saying, I believe, and being the believers, they're also lovers. Jesus's theme is, when he comes, is spread love, love thy neighbor, love this person, forgive, turn the other cheek, love, 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 love. Everything is about love. Everything is Pisces energy. You feel me? The war shit is done. The Aries energy is gone. That's Old Testament. This is why they say it's a new covenant. When Jesus came, he created a new covenant. He created the New Testament, not the Old Testament. He created the different change between the ages from Aries to Pisces, right? Very important energy. Very important energy. So when we look at where Jesus is at, you know, in his story, it's the age of Pisces. But what's Jesus's main thing? Yeah, he's a healer. He's this. But Jesus' thing was what? The fisher of men. It's very important that you pay attention to that, because if you're driving on a highway, you see the little placards with Jesus in the middle. It's in what? A fish. Why would they decide to put Jesus in a fish? I get it. Oh, well, he multiplied fish and bread to feed the people. You feel what I'm saying? He walked on water. You feel what I'm saying? It's a lot of things. Everything was about water, and it's about love, and it's about believing. Jesus' thing were those things. He was always around some water. The baptism, the multiplying the water, the shit into thing, and what you call it, turning the water into wine. Pisces is a water sign. You feel what I'm saying? These things are very, very important to pay attention to, because it's written right in your face. Okay? So the Pisces age was just about that, you know, and Jesus marked that age. You feel what I'm saying? So love the neighbor, turn the other cheek, you know, believe. You just got to believe with all of your heart. Faith the size of the mustard seed. Believe, believe, believe. That's the theme of Pisces, right? So when it's all said and done, the templates were about faith, right? Faith is a form of belief. The templates were about that. And it was showing you examples of when people did believe, when people didn't believe, the depths to people believing and not like that. So, for example, Peter, they said, when Jesus told him, you're going to deny me. The crow is going to, after you deny me 3 times, the crow is going to croak, whatever, or macaw, whatever the case, whatever the shit is, right? That happened, right? And Peter, he was under the premise, I wouldn't do no shit like that. I wouldn't do no shit like that. He believed he wouldn't until the actual time came. And it was like, he said, I don't know that man. I don't know, bro. Fuck, that ain't my homie, bro. They were like, bro, you with him. You with him all the time. Yo, you want to, nah, bro, I don't know the man. I don't know that nigga, bro. Don't put that on me. I don't know him. You feel what I'm saying? Then he heard the crow. You feel me? Belief. It was like, when he seen everything else, he couldn't stand on it, because it was the belief. All of that shit was about belief. Belief, not believing, faith, lack of faith, or whatever the case may be. So these things are very, very significant in today's times, because Jesus marks This 21-year time frame, this is why AD and BC are what they are and why we're in the year 2000 right now. You feel what I'm saying? Fuck the calendar. We might not be in the actual year 2000, but they knew that no matter how we change the scope, this is why it's important to understand the Council of Nicaea. If you understand, they were like, we can't necessarily change the time pocket, the amount of time, but we can change the numbers to fuck people up. But we want to keep things consistent because numbers are cyclic, basically. There's only 9 of them. Everything else is just a repeat, a double up, because they're broken down numerologically. You feel me? At the end of the day, each number, no matter how long it is, it can be condensed down to a specific string that runs between 1 to 9, basically. You see what I'm saying? Follow me on that. It's important to pay attention to these points. So now, when we look at the Aquarian age, right? I mean, the Pisces age, everybody's looking for Jesus to return. Jesus is going to come back. He's going to make all of this stuff right. The sky's going to crack. This is going to happen. The book of Revelation says this, that, and the third, and blah, 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 blah. We are in the book of Revelations, but not in the context in which they're saying it. Right? The book of Revelations is supposed to bring the apocalypse, correct? If you study the Greek and Hebrew, if you study Greek, the word apocalypse from the Greek perspective means the uncovering. If the Greeks took the information from the Hebrews as they translated it, what was it that the Greeks saw that the Hebrews were talking about? That when they saw it, they said, oh, this is an uncovering. We're going to call it the apocalypse, the unveiling. To where now it's been transformed to apocalypse is some kind of cataclysmic shit, and it's not. It's really the uncovering. We're in the uncovering right fucking now, which is very important because 2 points I'm going to bring up. In the actual Bible, Jesus says he's not coming back. In the Bible, Jesus says he's not coming back. I know. The rhetoric has been saying for a long time. It's during the Last Supper. That's the reason why it's called the Last Supper. Even in the Last Supper painting, what do you have? Jesus sitting in the middle, and you have 6 disciples on either side. Each one of these disciples represents a season. Each one of these disciples represents a zodiac sign. You feel me? Depending on which level of astrology you study, whether you study 12-sign astrology or 13-sign astrology, if you study 12-sign astrology, Jesus represents the sun, the actual sun, the sun being in what it is. So it's the sun being in the Pisces constellation, and everything else is resolved around it. But the theme is going to be, the centerpiece is the Pisces energy. That's why Jesus was a fisher of men, and these were his details astrologically. You know, he represents the age of Pisces, and then you have the 12 zodiac signs within that on the earth. Okay? As within heaven, as below. So, you feel me? Follow me on this. So with these 12 disciples and everything, Jesus is talking just before the Last Supper. He's talking to, I want to say Peter. I'm pretty sure it's Peter. So Peter's asking him, where do we go? He said, Jesus says, when you go to the house, this is why it's important when you understand astrology, you know signs, planets, and houses. Jesus says, when you go to the house, you're going to look for the man with the gourd. You feel me? The man with the gourd. If you study astrology, you know that after Pisces, you have Aquarius. What is the symbol for Aquarius? It is a man holding a gourd, pouring water out. Jesus' template comes from the fish, which is the Pisces, about water. There's somebody pouring water out in the very next stage because we're done with that. We go from believing to knowledge. We go, you feel what I'm saying? This is all biblical context. Now, which verse? I don't remember the exact verses. I don't like to try to just remember details. I know the principle. So you can always just Google this and type this in, you know, what Jesus said to Peter about, you know, going into this man, following the picture with the gourd. So he tells him, yeah, you're moving. You're good. He tells him, he says, when you go into the house, which is going to be the next zodiac house, you're going to follow the man with the gourd. He will be waiting for you. That is the Aquarius age. And now we're in that point where the Aquarius age is we're walking into it. Now, I'm not going to get I'm already too deep into the rabbit hole. But anyway, so now that's that first part. So now we go to the book of Revelation. So now all of the baby boomers are like, we're in the last days of the last days. I've heard this all of my life. My great grandmother has said it. My grandmother has said it. My mom has said it. My great grandfathers have said it. Grandfathers have said it. Father said it. Like, we're in the last days of the last days, man. You know something's about to happen. Now, go back to when I was talking about the Greek. This is why you got to go. This is why the religion is so fucked up, because you got to go back several languages and know what the fuck the people was talking about. So to try to think, oh, I understand the word because you're reading it from English, you got to go English is the last language it's in. You feel what I'm saying? From English, you also got to go Spanish and French. That's why in the Spanish, I would say the Spanish is the easiest one to go back to language wise, because Spanish gives a whole bunch of clues. This is why in the Bible, English wise, it's called the seventh day is called the Sabbath. In Spanish, Saturday is called Sabado. So you're not even supposed to be on Sunday, but I'm not talking about that right now. I'm trying to get onto the master reset. So you can go English, and then you have to go back to the language of Spanish. This is why Jesus is pronounced Jesus. It's very important. Jesus is called Jesus because there was no letter J. So the pronunciation never had a J sound to it. You feel what I'm saying? It had an H sound to it. It had a H to it, right? The reason why that is the case is because now you go from the English to the Spanish. Spanish, you have to go to Latin. English, Latin, and French. English, Spanish, and French all come from the Latin language, right? Latin language was the language spoken by the Romans. You feel what I'm saying? So the Latin language has offshoots of English, Spanish, and French, or whatever the case may be. But while it's Latin, you feel me? Prior to that, it had to come from the Greek. So before the Greeks can get it, the Greeks had to get it from the Hebrews. You feel me? Of course, when we look deeper into it, we see the Hebrews ultimately came from an offshoot of Kemetic information. Now that's some crazy shit, because even in the Bible, it says that Moses was trained in the ways of the Egyptians. What were these ways? He was knowledgeable in the ways of Egyptians, and then he said, fuck them. He was raised as an Egyptian and then said, fuck them, right? I'm going to mention this story real quick just so I can keep going. So in the Bible, right, every single story, every single person in the Bible has a name except the Pharaoh. Why? Pharaoh is just generally called Pharaoh. You know how many pharaohs there were? Because the moment you put a name to the Pharaoh, you can literally start to put the timestamp on it to say, wait a minute, I'm starting to see something. And then you start to see that these people weren't necessarily there. So go back into what I was talking about, the letter J not existing and different things like that. So now when we go deeper into it, we can now see that, okay, if this is what this represents, then we got to go higher. We got to go higher with it, right? So we're looking at basically a collapse, right? So now when we understand the religious aspect, right, we go all the way back through these different languages. We go from the Hebrew. We have to understand what these people were actually meaning as they're passing this down. So if it has to go from, like I said, the Hebrew people were offshoots of Kemetic people, Egyptian people. You know, it's there. Like, that's how Moses was trained in the ways of eating. Everything he gave was kind of Kemetic shit. But this is why they don't tell you the Pharaoh's name. We know Moses, we know Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, we know Job, we know every character, but Pharaoh is just Pharaoh. There's no title to him. Is he Akhenaten? Is he Amenhotep? Is it Nefertiti? Like, who is the actual Pharaoh they're talking about that he was under? You feel me? It's so many different pharaohs, Taharka, that it could be under. But if you put that pharaoh's name to it, everything else nullifies, because that means timestamps can no longer stand. You feel what I'm saying? Because if we do say, okay, well, when the Hebrews were enslaved for 400 years by the Egyptians, that's when they built the pyramids, right? If we do our timestamps right now, based off if we make the time what it is right now, the Hebrews would have had to have been enslaved between 1450 BC and 1850 BC. Well, 1850 BC and 1450 BC, the higher numbers come first, right? So 1850 BC to 1450 BC was when the Hebrews had to be enslaved. So it took 85 years roughly about to build the pyramid. So if they were within that 400-year time frame, that's when they built the pyramids. How was the pyramid built in 2600 BC? That's what it's carbon dated to. You feel what I'm saying? That throws the timestamp off, because now which pharaoh are you putting that in? Because now you have to look at the other information that goes into it, because it's like, wait a minute, that was the pharaoh. Then we should have this information. This history should be able to be chronologized here, but you can't. You can't find anything that works with that. So they took the name off of the pharaoh for that very reason. Don't put the name on it. That's Council of Nicaea was some shit. Put names to every motherfucking body else except the most important motherfucker in there that can make all of this shit relevant, which is the pharaoh. We're just going to generalize him. You feel what I'm saying? So now let's move on. So this is the reason why I was saying that, because now you have to understand that the Hebrew language becomes the offshoot of the Kemetic language, not the Egyptian language, but the Kemetic language, which is Medu Neter. Like, the script was passed down. So from Hebrew, they created all the information that they wanted to talk about. So when the Greeks got the information, they took it, but they had to take it from how they understood it. So if we understand that an apocalypse, the Greeks defined an apocalypse as an uncovering, what were the Hebrews really speaking about when they meant that? Oh, when this final thing happened, you're going to have an uncovering. So now it went from and uncovering all the way to a cataclysmic event of war and pestilence and famine and all this other crazy shit. Those things are legitimately happening. But now you have to ask yourself, are they happening because it was supposed to be divine ordination, or is it because it was edict and it was written into existence? They said, we're going to make this happen. And then we're going to fuck with the people and not tell them shit and just keep them in the fear loop that, oh, we're in the last days of the last days, bro. That's what it is. So what that metaphor is, the last days of the last days, is from the allegorical perspective that, oh yeah, the age of Pisces is done and we're going into the age of age of Aquarius. You feel me? We're going to the age of Aquarius. So this master reset is just that. So that's just one aspect to it. So when we look at the book of Revelations, what happens? You feel me? We said, okay, the sky's going to crack. The 7 seals are going to break. Right motherfucking now, everybody's chakras are opening up. And motherfuckers are losing their shit because they never been built to prepare for how to uncover, how to unblock a chakra, how to deal with them, and what covers the chakras. You have 7 chakras. You feel what I'm saying? And you have 7 seals that have to be broken. After the 7th seal breaks, which is the crown chakra, they say what happens? Christ is going to descend and fight the battle. The 7th chakra is also called Christ consciousness. Wow. You feel me? And then what do they say? When the battle starts, what's going to happen? The great serpent is going to slither up. The great serpent is going to be unlocked from the bowels of the earth. And that great serpent is going to come up and fight the battle. Right? They're going to meet they're going to meet in the middle, which is quote unquote, I guess, the earth, the purgatory, whatever the case may be. And that's where they're going to have the epic battle. But what happens is when this metaphor, what it was representative of, the great serpent, the Leviathan, or whatever the case may be, represents Kundalini energy. The shit that sits at the base of your spine, which is your root chakra, which is also the earth element. So when they say the Leviathan is emerging from the bowels of the earth, literally that's what it is. It's coming from the root chakra. And now it goes up to reach the crown. Like that's what your spiritual awakening is. Like some people right now, you'll probably feel like a burning sensation in the tingle in the middle of your back sometimes. That's where your Kundalini stops because you have a blockage at your heart chakra. It can't continue to go up. Massive migraines that can't be that's when your crown chakra is open up. It's certain things that your body is naturally telling you that you're having. These fluxes that you're having. If you're not having them, cool, good. That means there's an even flow of energy. But right now you're in that space where this uncovering is happening. 2020 was the collapse of all of that shit. Everybody, you locked in, you went into yourself, went into the solitude of your the dark side of your moon or whatever the case may be. And you started to study yourself and then things just started to happen. 2020 forced us to do that. We couldn't run from it. We couldn't do that. Everybody was locked in for a reason because this is a master reset. Now, what they're going to do is there's going to be 2 people, right? No, so I'm going to stick to the book of Revelation. I'm not even going to talk about the present right now. So in the book of Revelation, they say after the battle's happening, what happens? The fight happens. Christ wins. Christ consciousness let me slow down. Christ consciousness ultimately takes control of the Leviathan and sends it back down to the bowels of the earth. Everybody tells the story. God is going to come back and kill the devil. Read the shit. It's never stated that he's going to kill the devil. He's going to lock the devil. Which is the Leviathan, is going to lock it back into the bowels of the earth forever, right? What that means is that the Kundalini energy, once it reaches the brain and you control it, your apocalypse, your spiritual awakening, when these things happen and you master and control it, you control the Kundalini and you send it back down to the root chakra, or you send it back down to the base of the earth, right? You send it back down to the base. I talked about this in the chakras episode. Each chakra is represented by the element. You feel what I'm saying? But anyway, I'm using this. I'm trying to get to the master reset. You feel me? So this time, this information that is happening, once that battle happens, and it's what is the theme of that, right? Once the shit happens, it's going to say, created a new heaven and a new earth. What this means is that there's going to be a new body and a new mind. And for one, it's going to be for the collective, but it has to be for the individual first. You feel what I'm saying? That individual has to go through their new body and new mind phase. You feel me? You become more sensitive, more aware to certain things. You eat different. You change certain things, and you also think differently. You feel what I'm saying? So all of this was supposed to happen at the end of the Piscean age. That's what the Revelations represent. That's why there's no third testament, because it hasn't been written yet. All right. Look. The markets are not a difficult place to understand. All right. You just have to know what you're looking at. And there's 5 things that you need to see before you can make any market entry. First, you need a pocket so you can know which direction the market is going in. Second, you need a pullback so you can get the better price. Third, you need a battlefield so you can see when that market movement is slowing down. Fourth, you need the upper hand so you can see when the market reactivates. And last, you need a final push so you can see the exact moment when it's time to go with the direction you are already moving in. Okay? Of course, there's so much more that has to go into that, and it's not as cut and dry as that. But those are things that I teach in my Mastering the Market course. So if you would like to learn more, please visit IamJustSing.com and check out the Mastering the Market course today. Although it is directed and specialized for Forex, all of the skills, I crafted them to be transferable to any market that you're looking at. So again, visit IamJustSing.com and check out the Mastering the Market course today if you are truly looking to master the market. There's no third testament because we have to come into that part. You feel what I'm saying? We have to tell these things that are gonna happen as they are happening. So right now, the master reset is the collapse, is the fall of the timeline. You feel what I'm saying? It's the fall of the motherfucking timeline. So which way are we gonna move going forward through that? Is where we are right now. You feel what I'm saying? So now I'm gonna bring it all back in. Now let's bring it back. We know that we have the revelation, the last days of the last days, and all of this stuff, and all of these things that are happening. Like I said, assume that I'm lying and go fact check it. This is not me trying to, affect your beliefs or anything like this. I'm justifying and I'm showing what is really happening right now from the higher planes of perspective. It's like there's levels to the shit. Everybody talks about, well, we look at what's going on. These are spiritual battles. This is a spiritual war. This is a spiritual war. Well, understand spirituality a little bit better. Spirituality is not just angels and demons. Spirituality is your connection to the earth. It's the connection to nature and paying attention to nature's influxes and movements. You feel what I'm saying? That's spirituality too. You feel me? It's not what you see in the book. It's not what you see. It's like how you are able to interact with the earth, with the world. Well, not with the world, but with the earth. This is why in the very book it says, be not of the world. Be not of the world. Why are you not supposed to be not of the world? Don't give into worldly pleasures, right? But you're supposed to be earthly. You feel what I'm saying? You're supposed to be earthly, which is a crazy mind fuck, because then now how slavery came into, I don't want to get into that, but I'm going to mention this because I already started. How slavery came into it, says slaves honor your earthly masters. What was your earthly master other than the stars? It wasn't a physical slave. They manipulated that shit. It wasn't a physical slave master. Your earthly masters. You feel what I'm saying? Your earthly masters are your astrological principles as you would, as they said, as you would Jesus Christ. If Jesus Christ is representing the Piscean age, you feel me? Respect each other astrological perspective as you would the perspective of the age that is governing you right now. Shit's deep as fuck, but it's right there in your face. So now we're bringing it back up to modern times right now. So now when we have the astrological side, already telling you that we're here, we're literally at the shift where the Piscean age ends and the Aquarian age begins. The baby boomers are the end and the millennials are the beginning. So it says in the book, it says, last shall be first, first shall be last. Take a minute to think about what that means. The last shall be first and the first shall be last. The last of the Piscean age will be the first of the Aquarian age. So Gen Z is that overlap that is literally the last of the first and first of the last. Gen Z itself. That's why it's Gen Z. They are that verse. That individual verse. You are the last, like last shall be first and first shall be last. You feel what I'm saying? So if Gen Z is the overlap, because Gen Z is the overlap, if we're still looking at them from Piscean age, y'all the last ones born. You're the last of the dying breed. You feel me? But flip it. Put them into Aquarian age. Oh, y'all are the first of a living breed. It's different. You're now coming into a different perspective. And then the millennials carry the torch. You feel what I'm saying? So to keep people from this information, like, okay, it's a lot of distractions coming in, but this is why everything is so instant, so rapid. So, we got to keep your attention. Keep your attention here. Social media, video games, all of these things. Keep your attention here. Bam, 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 bam. Use it. The average attention span, and this is so disrespectful to hear, the average attention span of a human is less than that of a goldfish, and a goldfish only has an attention span of 8 seconds. Why do you think the social media is called like Instagram, TikTok, clock shit? Like, you feel what I'm saying? It's about moments, the momentum. You feel me? You have TikTok, you have Instagram, you have Twitter. Like, Twitter is derived from the same root as the word twitch. What happens when you have twitches? Your nerve impulses are just flying off. You feel me? Can't be controlled. You see what I'm saying? Like, this shit is fucking right there. It's right there. So all of these things are there. So Instagram is one of the biggest ones. It's like, You know, I do Instagram and social media and Facebook marketing. One of the things that they teach us when when you're learning and when you're like, the best way to get an ad is to have a scroll stopper. A scroll stopper. And then your ad copy has to be quick, to the point, but it has to be powerful enough to keep them there. Instagram, and you know, I know this because I'm on the marketing side now and on the advertising side. Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, all these things, they reward you for how long you can keep people on their ad. They reward you for that. So now, when y'all look at how, you know, and I just chose to use my shit, my understanding of it for the right reasons. When y'all look at my social media posts, I'm like, yo, that's a long caption. That's this. You always post. I keep y'all on my shit. But because I keep y'all on my shit, I made it a personal responsibility to say, let me give them something to substance to. Let me joke. Let me play. Let me have fun, because I know what keeps them intrigued. But let me give them something to substance to. So because I do it in such a random, sporadic thing, the moment you get that notification, that, or if you turn your notification on, the moment you see my post, instantly, I got to see what this person's talking about. Instagram. You feel what I'm saying? I got to see these things. So it's like, I'm like, yo, let me show y'all. Y'all know, let me help y'all get ready for this Aquarian shit. So let me joke, put on the Piscean energy. Let me put that on. Now let me put some, keep you here. You feel what I'm saying? And they reward me for it. So when I run my advertisements, when I run things like that, like, I have above average ads now. Not on no arrogant shit like that, because I know how this shit works. I know what the purpose of this shit is doing. You feel what I'm saying? It's to capitalize on the fact that our attention spans are so short. But our attention spans are short because they don't want anybody to acknowledge the Aquarian age. Because the moment you acknowledge the Aquarian age, you now shift from belief to knowledge. Knowledge is hard, because the separation between knowledge and belief is the wall of cognitive dissonance. You feel me? If you can't break through the wall of cognitive dissonance, it's going to be hard to obtain the knowledge. You feel what I'm saying? Millennials are able to do that. Millennials are the ones who are like, yo, that's bullshit. I'm not dealing with that no more. The baby boomers are the ones that are confused with it. Millennials either are going to see something and say, I either fuck with it or I don't. You know, the baby boomers can see some shit that refutes everything that they stand for. And they say, well, you know what? I still like, for example, in churches, especially in a black church, the pastor could be having multiple, like, pastor got a first lady. It's not his wife, because it's first lady. That means he could have a second, third, fourth, or fifth, whatever. But the pastor could be sleeping out and doing everything, and motherfuckers will still go to the church and say, oh, because he could preach. That's not the way that this shit's supposed to go. You feel what I'm saying? But the millennials are like, why y'all don't go to church? Because it's bullshit in the church. We seen the bullshit and said, fuck it. There's no, for us, for the millennials, there's still common ground, but Gen Z, they're the ones that's in the middle. Because Gen Z is like, I don't know. And you feel me? This sound good, but I'm there. Last shall be first shall be last. You feel me? That's what that represents. So that's where we're in right now. We're in the master reset. All of the information that is out there right now is literally telling us this, but you can't see it because they're not going to tell you the way that you're supposed to view it. They're going to tell you the way that they want you to view it so you can stay where you are. You dig what I'm saying? Like, if you stay where you are, you'll nullify a lot of the shit. You won't be able to nullify a lot of shit that is going on. So when we look at how this recent election is going on, right? Literally, just look at everything that's going on. You're literally watching the timeline collapse. You're seeing who's representing the first of the living breed. You're seeing who's representing the last of the dying breed. And you see who's in the middle, who's torn between. This election showed that shit. Actually, 2016 election showed that. Actually, the 2012 election showed that. No, it was 2008. Yeah, 2008 kicked it off because Obama got elected twice or whatever the case may be. But his first, like, that was the first time to show you. They put the shit on paper right there. Oh, millennials won this election, not the baby boomers. Millennials won this shit. You feel me? Millennials won 2012 again. And then the baby boomers, they had to see, where do the baby boomers stand? Not only baby boomers, but Gen Z, right? So Gen Z is going to pick the side. You feel what I'm saying? Where we're going to go. So they kind of craft it towards which way they want you to swing. You feel what I'm saying? So like I said, right now, this is like the end. This is the final touchdown, the final collapse. This is why you have the baby boomers literally going at odds with the millennials, right? For this very reason, because we're in two different energetic spaces. We're not supposed to be the same. Millennials are about transforming the world. They're not millennials for nothing, bro. You feel me? If anything, look, if we really want to look at it like that, it could have been like this. You have baby boomers, then you could have Generation X, then you have Generation Z. You feel what I'm saying? And then there could have been a plethora of things they could have named their generation. Why did they name us millennials? Because we're responsible for the next millennia. The next millennia, which is the Aquarian age for the next 2100 years, which is the age of knowledge. You feel me? You either come understand, you're going to turn right or you're going to get left. It's that simple. You feel what I'm saying? You're either going to know or you're going to continue to believe. And you can't operate in a realm of knowledge if you just believe, because, like I said, to get through belief, you have to get through the wall of cognitive dissonance. If they've already implanted so much in you that when the knowledge hits you, you freak the fuck out and you're like, damn, that shit, you know? Now, I'm saying just be gullible and naive and just believe everything. This is why I said at the start of this shit, act like I'm lying and go fact check me, please. Act like I'm lying and go fact check me. I gave my resources. You feel me? My sources that I'm getting this information from. And I'm not, well, as far as, okay, so to understand Noptoplaya, you can read this book called Black Genesis by Robert Bauval, I believe his name is. It's either Bauval or Brophy. Because I know Brophy wrote the star map, the constellation map. That's definitely him. Brophy wrote the constellation map or whatever. And that breaks down Noptoplaya in one regard. Then you have the other side of that. I think it's Black Genesis. The name of the book is Black Genesis. I want to say it's Robert Bauval. Yeah, it is, because he wrote the Imhotep book. It's the Robert Bauval. He's also talking about Noptoplaya there. They break down how the Kemetic people, like, they chronicleize this shit. You feel what I'm saying? That's one source. You feel me? The next source is the fucking Bible. It's right there. You feel what I'm saying? But understanding the Bible, not only from your English perspective, you have to understand it from the Hebrew perspective, but you got to remember that you got to go through several languages to get there. Several changes in cultures, several changes in so many different things. Because you got to think about it like this. How are there so many letters? How are there so many names in the book with the letter J? And the J didn't come out to the 1550s. But they expect you to believe that this shit started ahead of time and these people still had this name. No, it couldn't have, because now you have to get back to the higher points of it. You feel what I'm saying? But I want to just talk about the master set. I'm not even going to get too heavy into what I can go into with that. So those are some of the, like, just, it's there. It's there. Like, I'm not trying to say like I pulled anything out of the ass or anything. I just pulled anything out of the information that's already right there. You feel what I'm saying? And it's all in our faces. You feel me? The Mayan calendar, you can look at that shit. It's told you when this shit was going to happen, but it wasn't the end of the world. It was the end of an age, which was the Piscean age. Belief is gone. The belief is gone. So much so that that's why a lot of people are angry, because now that we're crossed into the age of knowledge, you can't just expect, you have to give me information. You feel what I'm saying? This is why, like, if you look at quote unquote social media scholars and motherfuckers that be dropping knowledge, they are literally, I feel like they're Gen Zers. They the baby boomers are Gen Zers, but they're really Piscean a lot of times, because the moment you start to question them, like, yo, go do your own research. Go do your own research. They just want you to believe what they're talking about. You dig what I'm saying? They want you to believe what you talk about. Then you have those that's just like, yo, bro, like, that's one of the things that, like, a couple of my homegirls used to tell me, yo, stop going back and forth with motherfuckers on the, no, because they ask me a question. They want to know. I'd be like 80 comments. I used to be like 80 comments deep in some shit. And the motherfuckers literally arguing with me, but I'm like, yo, answering the question, like, yo, nah, this is why I feel like this, and this is what it is. Like, and I'm giving the information. You feel what I'm saying? There's that divide, because that's Gen Z shit. Gen Z is who the millennials were supposed to look up to. You feel me? So now let's put another perspective into the shit. Now let's look at the music structure. The music structure, like the 90s was a very pivotal time. People don't even understand how powerful the 90s are. The 90s were a very pivotal time, because the 90s marked the time in which those born, they said, yo, we gonna distract the fuck out of these motherfuckers. They cannot change this scope, because they're already gonna outnumber the baby boomers. Look at this election. Look at these last few elections. Those who were winning, the millennials. You feel me? As far as popular vote wise, you feel me? So now it's like the age of this is another thing. Everybody's up in arms about the electoral college. Get rid of the electoral college is wrong. You know, your vote don't count. No, let me explain something to you. Your vote counts conditionally. You feel what I'm saying? Everybody was in shock. And this is where it's like that collapse was happening, because they're like, when Hillary got whooped by Trump, she won the popular vote, right? Everybody said, how did she win the popular vote, but she lost the election? The electoral college is rigged. It's not rigged. If you paid attention, it's not rigged. They told you how you get the electoral college. You take the popular vote. Whoever wins according to the popular vote, they get all of the electoral votes for that thing. This is where it got fucked up, because Hillary won the vote, the places that didn't matter. You won the popular vote in places that didn't matter. The motherfucker, you have Florida with 29, Pennsylvania with 20, North Carolina with 15. And then you have Nevada with 6. You have a couple of them with only 1 or 2. The fuck? If you're gonna win the ones that have 1 and 2, and he's gonna win the, it don't matter what your popular vote is, but your popular vote is conditionally matters if you use it in the right area. You feel what I'm saying? You do it in the right area. So I know everybody, well, why don't everybody just collectively registers to vote in the places with the highest electoral college? It's still not going to work. That's still going to be biased because now you're leaving a whole bunch of other states out. This is strategically planned. You feel me? And as long as you believe, oh, my vote counts, you don't think about the knowledge part behind it. And then if you're not paying attention to the knowledge part, that's where I'm like, that's where the Gen Z shit comes in. Because you have the Gen Z people that's like, okay, well, your votes do count. And then you have another version that's like, the votes don't count. You feel what I'm saying? And they don't know why they don't count. And then you have the millennial side telling them, look, this is why the shit don't count. It's conditional, bro. The shit does count. You feel me? It counts in context, though. It don't matter if you win, if you won by a large margin in the state that only has 6. You feel me? But you lost by a small margin in the state that had 20. It don't matter. That's 14 votes ahead of you at that point. You feel me? So that's what is happening right now. And this is just a detail, but the principle is just like that. You feel me? The world is like that. That's why it's like, if you pay attention, right? Because it's also, and like I said, this master reset is about going from analog to digital, right? Digital is going to be a lot more rapid. You feel me? A lot more knowledge based. This is why everything is going online now, right? Everybody's teaching courses now. I know, I'm doing it. I'm riding the wave because I understood where this energy is going. It's going to the knowledge based energy. Only people that I can fuck with are people that I don't try to I target Gen Z people, but only ones who are more knowledge based, not Piscean. They're more Aquarian because they're willing to say, oh, okay, let me learn something. Piscean people, they are scared to learn anything new. And it's hard for them to learn anything new. I know so many people who's like, yo, you can do this. Nah, I don't think my mind for that. Damn, you already defeated yourself. You feel me? That's why the biggest thing, especially for the conscious community, the last 10 years, whatever the case may be, was know yourself. Why? You need to know yourself because you're coming into the age of knowledge. If you don't know yourself in the age of knowledge, you're going to get fucked up. Somebody's going to tell you who you are. Motherfuckers have been telling us who we are for a long time. You feel what I'm saying? And there's a lot of things that have been going on for the 90s babies that they've been fucking up to keep us from actually ascending into the Aquarian age, especially as melanated people. Because in addition to the Aquarian age, what's happening is the world is about to get hotter. Global warming is a real thing. Why is global warming a weird thing? Because now we have to go back to the astrological side, the cosmological side. There's 2,100 years per zodiac sign, but there's still 4 seasons: summer, winter, spring, and fall. We left the winter, and we're coming into the spring. What happens in spring? Motherfuckers literally wake the fuck up. Think about what you do between February and March, right? Think collectively about that. How you start to get more energized, you start to get more active, your depression starts to go away, different things like that, and all of this shit happens. What do you think is supposed to happen between the Aquarian age and the Pisces age? What do you think is supposed to happen between the Pisces age and the Aries age and the Pisces age? What do you think is supposed to happen between the Pisces age and the Aquarian age? We're leaving cosmological winter, which is about an 8,000-year time pocket, because it's still 4 seasons. You dig what I'm saying? No, it's about 6,000 years? About 6,000 years. So, because it's still 4 seasons, it's 3 suns a season. You feel what I'm saying? Like, follow me on that shit. So now when they say, oh, it's global warming, they want you to think that. Now, this is why it's in context. Because the cars, all of this other shit, it is speeding this motherfucker up. They're fucking up the ozone. It is speeding that up. I'm not saying that global warming is not a real thing, but it's a contextualization to it. Because now the whole world is about to get hot. The ice caps are melting for a reason. You feel me? Because we're coming into cosmological spring. We're leaving the winter. We're coming into cosmological spring, right? So now, who's waking up? What happens in the summertime? Now, I use this for my melanated people because I know a lot of homies that used to do this shit. This is one of the things that kind of put things into perspective for me too. Like I know a lot of homies like they would fuck up in class, fuck up in school. Like, yo, I just can't learn. Then go to summer school and pass that shit in a month. How the fuck do you struggle in a 4-month time frame and pass the shit in a month? I don't know. I just got it because you were activated because the sun was out. The sun was out. We think the school system is structured this way by accident. Why are we in school? Why are we in school during the summer months? I mean, during the winter months to slow us down. The moments when we're supposed to be active, which is the summer, That's when they have us out, not learning, just playing, wasting our potential for the most part. But we build our physicality. We have the summers like, how many people have like, I studied for the summer? Nah, man, I haven't studied all this time. But this is why also too, if you look at the classrooms are cold. They're not suited for us because we're not cold beings. However, now the times are changing because the world is getting hot. The world is getting hot. That's why those ice caps are melting. That's why they say the sun is getting stronger. That strong sun ain't going, it's not going to do too much damage to the melanated person. You feel me? We're built for this shit. We're going to get darker. We're built for this shit. So now, this is what I'm bringing back into, because now when we look at the 90s babies and shit, now it's like we got to keep them distracted or keep them instilled in fear. The way in which the police, I know so many women right now and my brothers and sisters, I'm scared to have kids right now because they might die. You feel what I'm saying? That's what they wanted. That's what they wanted. If we can get this entire generation, if we can control how they're birthing their kids, what state their DNA is in when they transition, when they plant their babies, when they have their babies, if we can control that, we can control and dictate which way the future is going to go in the knowledge-based age. You feel what I'm saying? The baby boomers can't. The baby boomers are done. They're dead. Like I'm not like trying to be funny and shit. They don't have much life left. You feel me? But yet somehow they want us to still look up to them, and like we're in this position because now we have to carry the torch. Y'all were supposed to be planting seeds in us. See, the way life is supposed to work with humans and shit and children is like the parents are supposed to be making the children proud of them, but we have switched the shit to where our children are dying to make the parents proud. And the parents have an insatiable appetite. Do more, do more, do more, do more. And it's fucking with everybody's mental health. If your mental health is not in check, that means your emotions are not in check. If your emotions are not in check, that means your chakras are completely the fuck off. Which means it's going to be hard for you to actually transition into this position. But now you have no choice. That's what this master reset is about. You feel me? If we look at the numbers, we're going from a 2020 to 2021. Now, I know I said, oh, well, the numbers would change. Yeah, this is why they may have changed the calendar, but they kept the timestamps the same. It's still the same 2100 years. So whether we would be in X year or that year, but this would still be a 4 year. What is the 4? About foundation, independence. You feel what I'm saying? 4 seasons, it's what you got, 4 seasons, 4 directions. You have the number 4 is very powerful. 2021 is the number 5. You feel me? 5 is the number of the human being. You feel me? 5 is the number of the human being. 5 is the number of change. 5 is the number of transformation and growth. Like, we're coming into it whether we want to or not. You feel what I'm saying? It's almost here. It's there. You're feeling the energy now. You're feeling the master reset happen. Because the foundation, that's why this year was like, yo, this year was going to set the tone for whatever is going to happen. However you moved in this life, however you maneuvered, it's going to set the tone, because the next year it's about whatever you solidified in this last year. Govern what's going to happen for your future generations. How you're going to move it. If now within this election, there's still people dependent upon, oh, well, I got to depend on this person because I want, like, I've heard every election since 2008 when I voted the first time, everybody was like, well, if you don't vote for this, it's gonna dictate, the children. I'm like, I control my children's future. Their shit may have some kind of effect, but as the parent, as the father, it is on me to take this effect that can affect and transmute it. 12 laws of the universe. I left the nuggets already. The law of transmutable energy is to take the effect that they will put on my child and transmute it for the betterment of my kid. Not to let them dictate what the fuck is going to happen to my kid. You feel what I'm saying? That's what I'm supposed to be doing as a parent. That's what I'm supposed to be doing as a father. It's not just voting. Vote for what? I don't mind. I'm not telling you not to vote. I'm not telling you to be against voting. That's what you do. But now you have to realize that after I vote, I don't just sit back. I don't give a fuck who the president is. I don't give a fuck who the vice president is. You feel me? Whatever the effects of their actions, have it's on me to do it. Perfect example. I was just talking to one of my homies on social media. He was like, bro, you don't think? I said, yes, I never said that politics don't affect the earth. I never said that it's not important, but I said the vote itself, to me, I don't need to worry about it as a whole, no matter who I pick, because whoever wins, I know how to transmute the energy of what the fuck they're going to do. And I had to learn how to do this. And I learned how to do this mainly through day trading. You feel me? Because I started like everything that motherfucking Trump did, everything that like anything that happened is like, I watched how the dollar moved. It got stronger, it got weak, as opposed to these things. So I'm like, oh, you fucking with the dollar today. So, okay, cool. If you're going to make the dollar weak, then I need to go against a currency that's strong and push the dollar down and go ahead and assist it and get this money. You feel me? That's the principle right there. That's the principle of I don't give a fuck what the effects are. I transmute the effects and I allow them to benefit me. That's the purpose of all of this. That's the purpose of this master reset. Can you, no matter what the fuck happens, take whatever is given to you and transmute it according to your favor? So when people say, well, you need to vote so you can create the world for you, I create the world for my children. And then I teach them how to create the world for themselves based off whatever the fuck is happening in the world. That's what it's supposed to be about. And that's what this master reset is showing you. Who's going to be able to do it and who's not. Who can and who can't. Who will and who won't. That's what this master reset is about. If you on the opposite side of that, the side of the knots, you feel what I'm saying? You're going to be dependent upon that shit. You feel me? But if you're on the side, like, and that's why I'm looking at, I'm like, there's literally two types of people right now. All the people that aren't into politics right now, they're building businesses. They're building generational wealth right now. And they're giving that information to people. You feel me? Are they paying attention to politics? Hell the fuck yes. Because they're understanding how it's maneuvering, but they're understanding the effects and they're transmuting it according to themselves. But then you have the other people that's just like, off the other side of that, they're like, yo, I don't get it. Like, we need to vote for this because we need to get him out because like, I don't get like whether it's covert or overt racism. It's racism. It's racism. How do you make it work for you? Like we so like that shit. It kind of blew me. I'm tired of the overt racism. And this is a quick pin, but everybody keeps saying, oh, we not our ancestors. We not our ancestors. You disrespectful motherfuckers. We're not our ancestors. We are our ancestors. You know, or we not the same ancestors. Yes, you did. You couldn't even tolerate for 4 years what they stood in for fucking generations. Hundreds of years. We couldn't even last 4 years in. You tell me that bullshit. Then this is right here. I'm ranting right now because I'm very, very upset at this because so many people say I couldn't have been a slave. Yes, you could. Yes, the fuck you could. Yes, the fuck you could. You couldn't even last this shit for 4 days. For 4 years. Our ancestors did it for 400. You couldn't even do that shit for 1% of the shit that they did. And you got the nerve to fucking say you not your ancestors. Don't disrespect them like that ever again. Keep your fucking mouth shut. Disrespectful motherfuckers. I'm sorry, y'all. I got triggered, bro. I got triggered because I see that shit so motherfucking much. We not our ancestors for 4 fucking years. We went through a glimpse of what they went through for 400. And we couldn't take it. Let's get this motherfucker out. Let's get this motherfucker out. Let's go back to the covert racism because I like that a little bit better. But let's get this motherfucker out. He gotta go. He gotta go. How many times did our ancestors say they want that this motherfucker gotta go and he couldn't go no motherfucking where? We not our ancestors. You damn right. You ain't built like that. You ain't built like that. You couldn't even put 4 fucking years in. 4 fucking years when you were given the rights that they didn't have. Imagine that shit, you disrespectful motherfuckers. You couldn't even put in 4 years with rights that they fought for, and they put in 400 years without them. You feel me? But I ain't my ancestors though. You got the ability to walk around at night right now with the lights, without the at nighttime. Don't get caught out here with the street lights. They ain't had that motherfucking luxury. You feel what I'm saying? My bad. I'm sorry, because I'm gonna keep ranting. That shit pissed me off, bro. That shit pissed me off. But anywho, we talk about the master reset and the collapse, bro. Like, my bad, y'all. My bad. Like that shit. That angers me because it's like in 4 years we talking about we got to get him out. Like they endured that shit for 400. We couldn't even take 1% of that shit, and we got the nerve to say we not them. You right. We not. We not. We not. But anywho, this is a part of that reset. So you had those people that's like, you have the divided people like, all right, cool. I don't give a fuck who wins the presidency, bro. It don't matter. I got to do what I got to do for my future generation. Nobody's coming to save us. You feel what I'm saying? Which now goes into the other part about, the sky's going to crack. Jesus is going to come back. He's not. He's not. Because you got to understand the allegory in which that represented. They never taught you the allegory, bro. Sis. I know this seems like it's like an illusion shattering, but it's they fucked up. They didn't teach you the shit because they weren't supposed to. Because if they teach you the shit, it liberates you. Because now you know it's the allegory. Now you know, oh, I can transmute and manipulate all this shit. Because now I'm not looking for Christ to come back. because I know that it's Christ consciousness that has to descend. My own Christ consciousness that has to descend upon myself. And now I have to put my own shit into this world. I have to be responsible for the battle, the spiritual battle that occurs between me to create the new heaven and the new earth. You feel me? That's what this is about. This is the master reset. This is going in. So now 2020, we're in the fourth year. It's a 4. 2 plus 2 plus 0 plus 0 is 4. You feel me? 2021 is a 5. This is the transition. You're going from the foundation to the transformation. That's what the 5 is about. That 5 energy is about to change. 2021 is about to be crazy for people if you put in this motherfucking work. Some people have been putting in the work for the last 10 years. Some people have been doing it for the last 20. This shit's about to change. You feel me? And now you have Gen Z in the middle, torn. You feel me? The baby boomers are stuck. And now the baby boomers are seeing some reality that they can't even deal with. They can't retire. They don't even know it. And the belief system is so fucked up in them that they cannot see it. You feel me? When I first became an entrepreneur, I was talking to an older head and I was like, yo, bro, I got it. I was like, you ain't gonna be able to retire. Nah, I'm ready, man. I'm ready for this pension, man. All right. As the time comes for them to retire, more and more they keep saying, yo, I might give me another job and everything because, I like to work. And like, you making justifications for why you got to get that motherfucker. I know why. Because when you get that pension, it's going to cut your shit in half and you already struggling now with the full check you get. It don't work. It don't work no more. What the fuck do you think's going to happen to a millennial? You feel me? The baby boomers like, yeah, we went to college. We got our degrees. We were able to work a summer job to pay our tuition. Millennials have to work full time. And then the entry level job's still the same. When a baby boomer tells you, oh, you're starting off with 30,000. That's good. No, the fuck it ain't. Y'all don't know what the fuck inflation is. Y'all never factored in a lot of the shit that we got to face and deal with right now. And there's a lot of us who have seen and dealt with the shit and said, you know what? There's another way. There has to be more. You feel what I'm saying? We have to shift this paradigm. And so now they're paying attention to that shit. They're like, okay, we need to change this shit. You feel me? We need to change this shit. So now when you look at this election, it's divided. It's not divided on Republican, Democrat. It's not divided on, like, those are the details. And those are the shit that makes you think you have a choice or some shit like that. That's not what has it divided. That's not what has it divided. It's the energies of the earth. You feel what I'm saying? You literally have people that are, I guess I would say that you have baby boomers, the people that the generation slightly before the baby boomers. I don't even know what we call them. We never put a name to these motherfuckers. Why? Because they're the ones that are like, okay, how are we going to dictate this shit? You feel me? We have to control the millennials. We have to, because for the first time, as they said, the baby boomers are outnumbered. Who are they outnumbered by? The millennials. Motherfucker, that's the only people who can vote right now. The millennials are the only ones and then what about Gen Z? What is Gen Z? Gen Z is literally fluctuating in the middle, lost. Gen Z are those people that's like, I know a Gen Z motherfucker who, well, I ain't gonna say motherfucker, because they cool. But at one point in time, it was like, nah, I've been on the same shit I've been on for the last 5, 6, 7 years. Well, longer than that, but I've been on the same shit I've been on. So this person, they follow me on social media, really love my page and blah, blah, blah. I said something that pinched the nerves about religion and shit, whatever the case may be. And it was like, yo, that's what it was. I made a post about Easter, how Easter is different every fucking year and nobody knows why. You feel me? Motherfucker said, that's not cool. That's this, that, and the third. And it was like, you're wrong for them talking. I was like, all right, cool, whatever. 3 years later, this person comes back and follows me. And then now they're on fucking, I'm like, it is what it is. She was a Gen Zer. I know, because I know her age. I was like, yeah, you Gen Z. I got you. You were one of those ones that are fluctuating between. I didn't manipulate or coerce or everything. That's a fact. The shit is different on every year. But why is it different? You ask a baby boomer why it's different
everything.
They don't know. Ask a millennial who has put in the research and they're like, oh, that's because Easter is about, what is it, the second full moon? Easter falls on the first Sunday after the first full moon or something like that. It's some kind of astrological principle as to how Easter falls. You feel what I'm saying? That's why it's different every year. You feel me? It's different. The shit is here, bro. This is the master reset. This is the collapse. You can't believe shit anymore. And this motherfucker's trying to believe shit and so much information is coming out and so they rather just detach from the world than to be a part of it. I mean, detach from the earth than to be a part of it and compete in it. You feel what I'm saying? All of this shit they're giving you and shit, these is about the energies and how they're manipulating and controlling you. So if we understand that the millennials typically have a fucking placement, a zodiac placement of Pluto and Scorpio. If you understand these motherfucking energies, if you understand the stars, you know how powerful that shit is. You have to change. You feel what I'm saying? You have to change. And then when you understand what the biblical references are and all of that shit, like, you know, I didn't touch up on this, but I was talking about the 12 sign and the 13 sign astrology. Because I opened that portal, I want to go ahead and continue with it. If you're using 12 sign astrology, Jesus represents the sun, and then his disciples represents the other 12 zodiac signs, right? However, if you use 13 sign, those disciples represent the other 12 signs, but Jesus represents the 13th sign, which is Ophiuchus, or Fuakis, or something like that. It's some kind of, they removed that from it. Just like scientists, when they remove that from it, because it's like, okay, there's only 12 signs, it's not 13 or whatever. This is why it is what it is, because 13 is a number. 13 is what? A 4. It breaks down to a full completion of creation. 12 is a 3. You know what I'm saying? And it has to be broken down a different way. But I'm not going to dive heavy into it, but there is a 13th sign that they're trying to debate whether it is, you know, but they're doing the same thing that they did to Pluto. Why do you think, remember that time? It was a couple years ago, they said Pluto ain't a planet no more. Why do you think they try to tell you Pluto ain't a planet no more? Why? Pluto been a planet all our lives. My very elegant mother just served up 9 pizzas. Pluto was always the pizza. But all of a sudden, now they're trying to say Pluto is too small to be a planet now. It's too far out. It's not a planet. We're not going to call it a planet. You know why? Because now when you start to understand your placements, you understand your astrological placements, and you understand, oh shit, we got Pluto and Scorpio. We're designed to change the motherfucking world. Ain't that some shit? If it's one thing to think that it's just one person who has to change the world, but you know, it's a collective. When you know that you have help, everybody has their own traumas. Everybody has their own pains. Everybody has, and you now know how to collaborate. Just imagine if all the Pluto and Scorpio motherfuckers collaborated outside of a fucking election. They keep saying that, oh, the election swayed because of this. The election swayed because of that. It's not that. It's not that. Man, now, mind you, the shit in Georgia, they're like, oh, she put in work to get the black people to vote or whatever. Who did she target? Because who was she registering? A lot of people that have just turned 18, some people weren't 18 in the last election, which means that 4 years had to happen. So we're now in a pocket of what time? You feel me? 18 to 24. These generation of kids are after Pluto and Scorpio. What comes after Scorpio? Was it Sagittarius? Wait, what is Scorpio? Wait, ain't we in Scorpio now? Is it Scorpio? Sagittarius? Yeah, I think it's Sagittarius and then Capricorn. Yeah. So after Scorpio is Sagittarius. So these kids are now born in Pluto and Sagittarius. They different. And then you have that overlap with some of them who are caught within this within the retrograde. This shit is here. You feel me? You think they don't know this shit? Why the fuck do you think your birth certificate has a timestamp and your place of birth? They can run your shit just like you can run your shit. And they probably ran your shit before you did. You feel me? The shit is here, bro. The shit is all here. It's just what you choose to see. You feel me? It's what we're allowed to be able to see. So this is a master fucking reset. This election, which is a small glimpse of the shit, this shit is happening all over the world. Oh, COVID hit. Everybody got to stay in the house. All I got to pay attention to all of the shit that's happening. They're literally creating the world and setting the motherfucking world up to be information based. To be information based, technology based. You feel me? Aquarian energy. And it's a lot of motherfuckers that still want to stay Piscean. And they're not seeing that this shit is whooping their ass every day. It's now whooping their ass on a whole nother level. You feel what I'm saying? They knew what they was doing to set certain shit up. Now all of a sudden we outside, there's 5G towers everywhere. When did you see a 5G tower put up? Motherfuckers thought I was reaching when I said the shit because they thought I was saying that the coronavirus is caused by 5G. You feel what I'm saying? Now the 5G radiation does give off, like when you actually study the scientific part of it, it does give off the radiation that gives you certain effects that are resembled to flu-like symptoms. Why didn't nobody talk about that shit? But then now we've been in the house. We've been in the crib 7 months. Not only that, when we run out, what do we focus on? Make sure I got my mask. Make sure I can get in and out. Make sure you're not paying attention to shit. Next time you go outside, just drive. Just drive and start looking at the new 5G towers they got up. Now everybody's rolling their commercials out. Sprint, T-Mobile, AT&T, the greatest 5G network. Where was this shit at in the beginning of the year? You feel what I'm saying? This is the master reset, bro. Like, this shit is changing. This shit is changing. You feel me? While they were testing the shit to see the power of the radiation, what they were doing was when you had to be 6 feet apart, because you had now have your phones are now putting out emitting an energy with 5G. You didn't even notice that your phone updated to 5G. They have new capabilities now. You feel me? Every phone from going forward is now 5G. Look at that shit. You have no choice. You're going to get down or lay down. You feel me? You're going to get down or lay down. If you lay down, you stay down. You feel me? Like, this shit is there. Like, this is the master reset. Oh, it's going to go back to normal. It ain't no normal. Next time you get a chance, like, yo, check out your phone. Check out your debit card. You feel me? If your debit card buy the chip, now, that's a whole nother thing. The chips got put in. You feel me? Because now we about to go all digital. We about to go all digital. That's what I'm trying to tell motherfuckers. Start learning how to invest. Start learning how to trade. Why do you think all of these different platforms now can let you do that shit? You feel me? Cash App. Cash App used to be about sending money. Cash App, you can invest on Cash App. You got Robinhood, Acorns. Why do you think they're putting all of this shit into reality now? Everything is now trapping off the phone. Everything is now digital. It's going digital. Randomly, we all in the house for 7, 8 months. All in the motherfucking house. And randomly, there's a coin shortage. Bitch, we won't using no quarters. Most of us were shopping online anyway. Where the fuck the coins go? Master reset. That point that I was making with that. So now, remember there was a time you had your chip, you put your joint in. They started this a long time ago. Now, I don't swipe it anymore. I use my chip. You feel me? Now what they got? Next time you go out, if your chip has like a little Wi-Fi symbol, it's like a sideways Wi-Fi symbol next to it. Next time you go to the gas station, whatever the case may be, put the shit up to the screen. Don't put your chip into the bottom. Put your shit up to the screen and wait and watch it go beep. Didn't even pay attention to the shift. Didn't even pay attention to the change, did you? You feel me? So why? You don't have to touch the keypad. You don't have to touch anything anymore. You just beep, touch it, it scans and goes. Subtle shit. The master reset is here. It's already done. You feel me? This shit was supposed to happen this way. You feel me? Conspiracy theory, my ass. You can call it what you want. This shit is there. I might be reaching, but there's no way in hell I got so much of this information that's right there and you can go validate it. You feel me? That's what this year was about. We have to create a new foundation. There's going to be a new foundation. But we got to disrupt everything. Everybody's emotions were so fucking far off that you couldn't even think about shit logically. You got racism, especially as black folks. You feel me? Now, mind you, this is another point because now this is directed towards us and I'm going to try to go ahead and start wrapping this up. Mind you, as black folks, why were they so busy on targeting our vote? Our vote. The world is now shifting back. Now, it's like I said, we're going into a cosmological spring. What you got to do to what you got to do to survive this? You're going to have something that can resist the sunlight, that UV radiation. That shit getting too strong. That shit getting way too strong. So it's like, yo, we got to depend on, let's, this shit blew me. They're like, we can't let the black people, I'm not just talking about black people in America, black people across the world. We cannot let them understand themselves the right way. So, but we're gonna shake up this shit happening in Nigeria. This shit happening here. This shit happening everywhere. Something is happening to us emotionally, physically. Like, we're like, what the fuck is going on? And our whole shit is fucked up and we can't even, when somebody rattles your emotions, they can control your thoughts. They control your thoughts. You feel me? Mind you, they collectively done this and they're like, yo, now we got the black vote. We want a black vote. Black people came through. I just seen a couple of posts over the last few days like, yo, black people saved the election and black people don't even know their power. They said we swung the shit just from Georgia, but we don't understand where we stand in this motherfucker. Like I tell everybody all the time, you cannot be a minority with dominant genetics. When you realize that shit, you'll break the mentality. You cannot be a minority with dominant genetics. Hear me well. You cannot be a minority with dominant genetics. This is your shit. You feel me? But anywho, that is the master reset. This is the master reset. And then, like I said, it's affected more towards the melanated being because the melanated being is now going to be poised with having a position to move forward for the next 18,000 years. What are we going to do with it? What are we going to do with it? This is why they're now starting to pay attention to how they're starting to put new leaders in. It's like, okay, let's season them in. Let's season them in. Salt and pepper type shit. Let's season them in. We'll give them Barack Obama. Like, the United States is the most powerful country in the world right now. You know, give them that. We'll give us that. You feel me? Power, but they're also like, what happens in the United States happens across the world. But who starts it? Black folks. The shit that black folks help build, like, we're always the undercurrent of this shit. You feel me? Again, we literally started genres of music that everybody now fucks with, that everybody now wants to be a part of. Soul music was our shit. Can't nobody sing that shit like us. But now all of a sudden, oh, now people are starting to come into it. You know, R&B music, rhythm and blues. Bitch, we was depressed, but we could rhyme. The fuck? And now R&B is a genre that everybody now wants to come into. You feel what I'm saying? Hip hop was our shit. Everybody wants to be a motherfucking rapper. Where did the shit start? Where did a lot of this shit start? It started right here in motherfucking America. And it's spreading out. Now they're starting to understand we're on the endangered species list. I'm not trying to be funny or rude or anything. Look up the birth rate of Caucasian people. They have had a 0 birth rate for like 8 years now. Why is nobody talking about that? Do you know what it means to have a 0 birth rate? That means more people are dying than are being born. To have one for 8 years, you're on the endangered species list. So now what they're trying, okay, we can't really give up the throne. But now we got to start to test the waters. We give him Obama. This motherfucker got to be clean cut. He can't fuck up. He can't do shit. You feel me? Oh, they kind of fucked with him. They kind of fucked with him. Now, you know, I said this in 2018. I said, racism isn't profitable anymore. Trump was to see how profitable racism was. It's not anymore. It's not. Racism is no longer profitable. It was very, very profitable, you know, back in the day. It's no longer profitable now. And they're starting to see that. So now they're starting to, okay, let's see if we still got it. We're going to put Obama in. After we put Obama in, let's see how it's still going to work. Trump goes in. They give you the extremist form of racism. Let all of these motherfuckers come out. And they say, oh, this shit really ain't profitable anymore. This shit really ain't profitable for Black Twitter. As soon as somebody posts some racist shit, Black Twitter will get that motherfucking shit and they'll do their thing. I see shit like, it's so much shit. I see motherfuckers like, yo, Black Twitter, do your thing. They will find this motherfucker, find their job, find everything, email, DM, all the shit that they go to. That motherfucker lose their job in 24 hours. Racism ain't profitable no more. You feel me? Racism ain't profitable anymore. That doesn't, like, that's what people don't understand. Like, you got to understand the money too. You feel me? Racism isn't profitable anymore. So fuck, I know they're still going to be racist. They're always going to be racist. But now it can be tolerable for that money. But now they realize how much tolerable they got to be. You feel what I'm saying? Nike wasn't stupid. They said, we're going to fuck with Cap. We're going to fuck with Cap because racism ain't profitable anymore. You feel me? It's not little white kids going broke for LeBron and Jordan shoes. But that sneakerheads? No. So if they say, hey, you know what? If y'all not going to fuck with Cap, then we not. All right, then we're not gonna fuck with y'all. Oh no, you ain't fucking up Nike's bag. Like who was the one major celebrity said, you know what, I can't do this, and Nike doesn't want to do that, and they pulled out of they pulled their stock out of Nike. Nike stock went down barely and shot right back up once he endorsed it. You know why? Because they understand that where the world's going. You feel me? Racism ain't profitable no more. I'm not saying racism isn't real. I said racism isn't profitable anymore. 2016 just showed you how profitable racism isn't. You know how much money has been lost in the world? You know how many times the stock market has dropped? How the US dollar, how weak the US dollar has gotten because of the racism of the last 4 years? Last 4. They can't sustain that shit. Racism is not profitable, and they tested the waters to see how profitable it really isn't. So now we're gonna give you diet racism again, and then we're gonna give you a woman of color. You feel me? They're gonna start sprinkling this shit in. They're going to start sprinkling this shit in, get you familiar with not seeing white men all the fucking time. Started with Obama, now you're going to get Kamala Harris. You're probably going to have an Hispanic one in the next 4. Watch what I tell you. Next 4 to 8, you're going to have an Hispanic one. Or you're going to have a transgender one. Watch what I tell you. Because now they're starting to see what's profitable, and that's all they're doing is capitalizing on it. And watch how the shit move. Racism racism isn't profitable anymore. Sexism isn't profitable anymore. Homophobia, all of that shit, it's not profitable anymore. It was at one point in time. You feel me? Within my lifetime. You feel me? Probably within yours too. But that's it. This is a master reset. This is a master reset. And if you don't pay attention to it, if you're either going to stay, you're going to turn and get lost. You're going to get right, get left, or whatever I said. I don't know. Because now I'm going on too long. And I said I wasn't going to do another long one ever again. You feel me? But that's what this was about. You feel me? That's what this is about. All of the signs are right here. All of the signs are right here. You feel me? This shit is what it is, bro. So it's like the question is, bro, sis, how are you going to make use of this master reset? You feel me? I'm not gonna hold you. If you scared of the future, you still gonna be Piscean. It's gonna bust your ass it's gonna bust your ass going forward. That's where a lot of these motherfuckers can't get their shit together. They can't do their shit because a lot of people want to be Piscean in the age of knowledge. You can't. I just want to believe. Nah, bro. It's gonna need some action because knowledge has to be applied. This next 2100 years is gonna be some amazing shit. I know we ain't gonna live to see 21 years, but now it's time to start transitioning into this. Like, it's how well you're gonna be applying knowledge. Aquarian energy, bro. I'm telling you. Everybody, y'all, we laugh at these zodiac signs about Aquarius people, but you don't know how to deal with the energy. I fucks with Aquarius people. They make me sharper. Some of my closest friends are Aquarius, and they keep me on my shit. You feel what I'm saying? Not just because they air signs, because they're Aquarius, because it's about knowledge. When I come to them, I can't come to them emotionally. I can't come to them on no shit like, from an emotional base, but they're going to help me process and rationalize and learn how to apply knowledge better. You feel me? Imagine that shit on a grander scale. That's what this shit is about. You feel me? And it's all right here. This is the master reset. This is the master fucking reset. So I just got to ask, are you ready for that shit to happen? And what you going to do when it does?
And don't forget to take a moment to go get your exclusive merchandise from Just Scenes merch. At Just Scenes, each piece is specifically crafted with positive imagery and symbolism. From the titles and designs to the descriptions, each style gives you something to feel great about. With everything from hoodies and tees to coffee mugs and tote bags, we have something for the entire family. So be sure to get yours today. Find us on Instagram at Just Scenes merch and get your merchandise right now.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up there because, like I said, this was an impromptu. Just in light of recent events, everything that's been going on, I kind of just wanted to discuss that because this master reset is here. Like the shit's here. Like, you feel me? My boy, like, 2021 is going to be so this. 2012 is going to be like all of these time frames, all of these moments that you had. Did you die? Not on the funny shit, but did you die? No, but you had an opportunity to prepare yourself for something different. 2000, the year 2000, Y2K, you had the opportunity to prepare for something different. Did you? All right, we'll give you 2012. You had opportunity to prepare for something different. Did you? Nope. Now they say, oh no, they were wrong. It wasn't 2012, it's 2021. Fuck. Still a 5. Do you see why they could switch it from 2012 to 2021 and the number's still the same? Break down that numerologically. 2 plus 1 plus 2 is 5. 2012 was a 5. 2021 is a 5. We made a mistake. They didn't say it was going to end in 2012. Now they had it backwards. Why did they have it backwards? But it's supposed to be the same thing. You feel me? But anywho, so now it's like, 2021 is really when it's going to happen. No, this shit's been happening because you're looking at a physical thing. You're looking at a sky to crack. You're looking at all of these things as opposed to looking at the nature and looking at the understanding the energy. Like, think about this shit. Have we had summertime? Have we had winters like that in a long time? Winters have been getting hotter. Are we paying attention? Of course, we're calling it global warming, but are we paying attention to the solar influx? Are we paying attention to the astrological principle? Because a lot of shit that don't make sense that we don't pay attention to. Like, how the fuck does it get cold in the winter, but the sun is closer to the earth? We ever think about that? No, they're not going to tell you that shit. That's shit you got to find on your own. Damn, the sun is really closer to the earth in wintertime than it is in the summertime, but it's hotter in summer than it is. How? So it's like, what is really happening? What is really happening along these lines? You feel what I'm saying? It's the master reset, yo. This timeline is collapsed, bro. The age of Pisces is done. That's what this, like. So if you follow a lot of astrological people, you follow a lot of quote unquote spiritual people, woke people that's always talking about there's a 5D collapse and all of this shit and blah, 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 blah. They use these words 5D and all of that shit like that. And it seems confusing, like they're talking about some mystical, metaphysical shit. They are, but I mean, as far as it being outreach, like, oh, it's in a dimension, like I'm, a whole new, no, that's not what it is. It's tiers of energy. It's tiers of energy and what you're able to handle. You feel what I'm saying? So they're like, yo, this is going to be a whole timeline collapse. This is the timeline. The timeline is the time stamp based off the Pisces age. We're in the age of Aquarius. At this point, everything is about knowledge. It's showing you right now. How the fuck? And then it's not only that, it's capitalizing on knowledge and it's exploiting the ignorance of people. Because think about this. Cell phones came out in the 80s. You feel me? The late 80s, 90s and shit. You had a big ass cell phone and shit. You feel me? Now let's say 30 years. Let's say 30 years. How we go from having those big ass cell phones to not having computers in our hands? 30 years. But yet cars still have gasoline. I'm not talking about just Tesla. You feel me? Since Ford, in the early 1900s, cars still need gas. You feel me? But now they're starting to take away. Because watch what you see. Within the coming years, kids are going to get pulled out of school. And what are they going to do? Do away with buses. Because now they're starting to see, okay, damn, this shit's fucking up the ozone layer. You feel me? We can't necessarily take the cars off because people still got to go to work. So what we're going to do is we're going to only let essential people come in. You feel me? Everybody else got to stay in the crib. You feel what I'm saying? Essential people are going to be in a panic because they're only dealing with people that's like, you know what I'm saying? Like, everybody's going to be distracted with this. We're going to erect these 5G towers. You feel me? Now, when we open back up, quote unquote, we're going to open back up. We're going to let people have the option. Do you want to stay at home and learn from home? Or do you want to come to school? You can still do that. Still got to do that shit. They're still going to make it uncomfortable for the social distancing and shit. Don't nobody want to be around that. Don't no kid want to wear a mask for 7 hours a day. Don't no adult want to do that shit. So at some point it's going to phase out to where it's like, oh, everything's online learning. They've been testing this shit for a long time. Nobody was paying attention to it because they don't do things in instant moments. And that's what fucks you up. They do it in small doses. You feel what I'm saying? It's like a frog. They say if you put a frog in boiling water and you turn up the heat slowly, the frog will adjust its body temperature to match the heat. But it can't, once it gets too high to actually, once it gets too high for it, you know what I'm saying? It can get to a point where it can get too high for it and start boiling. But the frog has now used all of its energy regulating the temperature that it can't jump out of the boiling water. So it dies. You feel what I'm saying? Over the time, they have been regulating us for all of this. Like, think about when online classes started. You do a class here, a class here. Now you have whole schools online. They prepared you for it. You had the people. Who was the guinea pigs for all of this shit? Fucking millennials. Why? Because we were fucking Aquarian. We can adjust to the knowledge. We're not stuck in our ways. We're like, oh, well, okay. Okay, so just tell me what I got to do. Oh, here's an online course. You know what I'm saying? I remember in undergrad being excited if a motherfucking class was online. You feel me? To where some people are like, I just can't get with the computer. This and like, we changed the game. We changed the game and we were the guinea pigs to help the game change. You dig what I'm saying? We're still the guinea pigs to help the game change. Now we understand that we're the guinea pigs. You feel what I'm saying? And we're using it, you know? We're using it. Baby boomers will hit us with some bullshit all the time. You guys don't know everything. You think you know everything. Can you help me with a PDF? No, motherfucker. I don't know everything. But I know what I be talking about. That's a lot of the battle too. Like, we get frustrated with the elders and shit like that. We're like, they're stuck in their ways. They have to be. They're Piscean. They're about believing shit. If it don't make them feel a certain way, they can't believe it. They have a very difficult time getting over the wall of cognitive dissonance, which leads them to knowledge. We don't. And this is by design. This is by birth. So it's like, bam, let's put this in. Let's test the technology. Let's use them for the technology, video games and all that shit. All of that shit evolved with us. Everything digital evolved with us. How quick we were able to manipulate and master shit, it evolved with us. You feel me? We went from Walkmans to CD players to MP3 players to streaming music. Now we don't have to buy CDs no more. Did y'all see how everything is now shifted digital? Nothing is physical. Nothing's analog anymore. But it happened in doses. Everything is changed. We went from not being able to download music off of LimeWire to now having the music locked in on our phones, 100% access to it. For $9.99 a month, you get all the music you want. Streaming. You don't have to buy a CD ever again. ever again. There's no analog part to it. You feel me? Like, this shit has been working and we have been growing up in every phase of it. Every phase of it. We watch cell phones evolve. We watch cars go from, we watch the push starts, the Bluetooth connectivities, you feel me, OnStars. All of that shit was with us. Why? Because they had to get us used to it at a young age. So when they start to segue into it as now we're older, it's normal for us. A new phone comes out with upgrades and shit, we're not shocked at it. It's not like, oh, I got to get that. It's like, all right, wait till the next one come out. I know you got to work the glitches out on this one and shit. The shit liable to blow up if I'm charging it up or some shit like that. We start to know certain shit ahead of time. That's because we have that age. Like, I know it seems like I could be reaching, but once you just observe what the fuck is happening, there's so much shit that you miss because we're continually distracted and we're continually and where the fucked up part about it is that we are now in a position where the believers, the age of belief, it's gone, bro. And they can't convince us to believe anything. They can't convince us to believe anything. You have to know it. You have to know it. You have to have the knowledge behind it. And if you don't have the knowledge behind it, you kind of get left behind. This master reset, I'm going to hold you. I'm going to tell you the truth. It's already in effect. It was already resetting. It was just loading. As they say, the flame flickers the most violently just before it goes out. Always remember that phrase. Look at a candle. When you've lit a candle all the way down to its base, pay attention to the last moments of that candle. It's pop, 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 flicker, 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 pop, 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 flicker, flicker, flicker. Then it goes out. Into 2020 is just like that. You can't tell me that this is not the flame flickering violently before it goes out. Piscean age is done, cuz. That shit's done. We are now coming into the Aquarian age. Either you get right or you get lost. It is what it is. I don't want to be one of those woke motherfuckers who come off like, yo, the time collapsed. If you're going to do it, like, I'm telling you how it's collapsing. I'm telling you why it's collapsing. I'm telling you what you're supposed to, like, it's not like that spiritual shit is deeper than just ghouls and goblins. You feel me? It's the stars. It's the numbers. It's the shapes. It's all of this shit on a basic level. You see these shits play out in certain different ways. Symbolisms. All of this shit is right there in your face. But they flood you with it so much that you can't see it. You can't get used to it. You feel me? Aquarian age is here. Information knowledge is here. You feel me? Now everybody's like, okay, now investing is booming. Online courses, online coaching, all of these things, they're booming because it's what it's supposed to be. We're now going to be in a position where basically we'll be bartering. We don't know it yet, but we'll be bartering. Yeah, you still get your compensation, your dollars, but that's what you're bartering. You feel what I'm saying? I'm trading you my skill and why do you think online courses are booming? I'm giving you my skills, my resources. So now you can have your skill and your resources so we can interface like that. Because everything is about what you know and how you can apply it and how we can work together in the grand scheme of things. You feel me? How we're going to work together in the grand scheme of things. And as long as you stuck in that belief stage, that knowledge shit is really like, it's going to change. It's going to change the game. But you feel me? This master reset had to happen. And with the master reset happening and in full motion, man, I just hope y'all can see it. I hope y'all can see it. You feel me? I know it's like, it's going to fuck you up because like you're going to go out and you're going to see a lot of shit. You're going to pull your debit card out and you're going to be able to touch the screen and be like, damn, that shit's real. You're going to think back to a lot of the shit that happened, like the way the phones evolved and all of the shit to the 5G and all of the shit. Go out, see the 5G tower just sprouted the fuck up. Like, where the fuck, when the fuck did you put them up? Where the fuck was we at? In the house. But then you have motherfuckers like, I would go out periodically, but you would never see anything in construction. But somehow these motherfucking towers is up. When the fuck was they putting them up? At night? Early in the morning? Whatever the case may be? Because it's like the 5G, there's two different types of the 5G. I talked about this in the 5G episode. You feel what I'm saying? You have the 5G connected to Wi-Fi that runs underground. Then you have the 5G for cell phones that is above ground. That's what they had to keep people away from. So stay in the house. You feel me? Your service provider with their Wi-Fi signal, they probably charge you, they probably tell you that for best service, for best Wi-Fi reception, hook up to the 5G. It's there. It's there. It's all there because we're shifting into the age of knowledge. The age of knowledge means that information is going to be coming so quickly that they have to keep up with it. You feel me? They have to keep up with it. Phones are downloading faster, all of this shit. It's a whole bunch of, it's a master reset. All of this shit was to show you what the master reset was. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up. I'm going to go ahead and end there. I've said all I want to say. This is an impromptu, so, ain't nothing written. It's just me going. But yeah, all of that shit that I just said, assume that I'm lying and go check it out. Go check it out, please. Please do. Go check it out. You feel what I'm saying? Go check it. That's all I ask. And then come, I don't know, funny shit, I know that I'm right or whatever the case may be. No, because I could very well be wrong. You could very well find the one thing that nullifies all of this shit for me. And I fuck with that. Why? Because I'm on some knowledge shit. I'm on the Aquarian age shit. You feel me? And that's all the energy that I use. I can't use Piscean energy because I can't believe shit anymore. You feel me? Because it makes no sense. You have to cross through that wall of cognitive dissonance. And that's where the battle is. It's the baby boomers between the millennials. Gen Z is in the middle. You have those who are in the millennials who were born late 80s, early 90s babies. You got the Pisces and Scorpio energy within you. If you have Virgo, it's because it was caught in a retrograde, but at the same time, you still, we'll accept you. We'll accept you. But Gen Z has that overlap. You feel me? Gen Z has that overlap, and then you have the baby boomers. And then you have those battles in between. Baby boomers can't continue to run the world. Gen Z is going to die. Who's going to be left? For us, we have to carry the torch. We can, and what they're banking on is that we continue to pass down Piscean philosophies, and we can't. They're dead. They outdated. They don't work. You feel me? Now we have to start creating new Aquarian ideologies. You feel me? Planting these seeds. And that's what it's all about. That's what it's all about. This master reset, it has collapsed the whole timeline. At this point, we're literally going to be starting from scratch, starting fresh. Zero. You feel what I'm saying? They got you in fear. They got you all of that because if you can't see the reality, you're going to do what they tell you to do. You feel what I'm saying? This election showed me that so many people are not ready for Aquarian age energy yet. Some people cannot even deal with it. You feel me? So many people are and some people are stuck in between. What got me on a grander scale, but what got me was the whole electoral college thing. Your vote doesn't count. It's conditional to counting, bro. It does. You just got, if you want your vote to count the way you want it to count, make it count that way. If I know I wanted the Democrats to win, or whatever the case may be, and I know that this particular place has the most electoral votes, I'm going to register in that country, in that place for that time and register and vote there. Just happen to be in the right time, so when the election happens, I'm there and I do it. Feel me? That's how you make your vote matter. That's how you make your vote count. To make your vote matter is to put the pressure behind these motherfuckers and say, you're not getting my shit unless you give me something. We just give up the vote and save everybody. I think as black folks, let me go and give us a round of applause. I think as black folks, we just like being congratulated. We like being congratulated for having the most humanity and the most humility of people. Nigga, in 2020, we have screamed Black Lives Matter. We have done hands up, don't shoot. We have said George Floyd was my cousin. Now, no fucked up shit. No. George Floyd was my cousin, my real cousin. You feel what I'm saying? That's how close that shit was to me. And all of a sudden we talking about we want change and all of this shit. You feel what I'm saying? Them motherfuckers said nothing of that. They said, we're not stopping police brutality. We're not stopping any of that shit, but vote for us. We don't give a fuck about y'all. Still, through all of our pain, through all of our trauma, through all of the shit that we're going through, we're still bailing motherfuckers out. What's going to happen when we accept that? Fuck this belief shit. Fuck the Piscean age. When black folks leave the Piscean age, the world changed. I put money on it, and I'm going to end it with that shit. Because the world is already being ran by black people under the Piscean age. Piscean mentality. You feel what I'm saying? Think about that shit. When we ascend and we transition correctly into the Aquarian part, one of the hardest reasons why it's hard to get into the Aquarian part, because everybody that's Aquarian is angry. And they're frustrated with people that are Piscean. So they don't have the patience for y'all. They're like, yo, shit, man. How the fuck you... And that's where the divide is coming in. When y'all start running into people with patience that are willing to take the time with you and show you things, start to bring motherfuckers with you. Trust me. I know. But you have to be able to show them what it is. You feel me? You have to be able to show them this shit. That's what this Aquarian shit is going to be about. Knowledge base. You feel me? But this is also what the master reset is about. We're going to fuck up the whole emotional space of black people. We are not going to put them in the right spot. They got shit going on in Nigeria. They going to have shit going on in the islands. They going to have shit going on in Africa. They going to have shit going on everywhere. So they always know that something's going to be like, why the fuck do we have to be Pan-Africanism? Pan-Africans. You feel me? We know we have to collectively understand that we got to, like, everybody beefing with us. There's a racial slur for black people in every culture and every language. How? Don't nobody fuck with us. But yet we so busy bailing everybody out and saving everybody else, except ourselves. You feel what I'm saying? We are the messiahs and don't even get the shit. We literally just watched how motherfuckers said black people bailed them out. I seen somebody made a post or comment on one of my posts and was like, yeah, they was in DC. I forgot they called whatever the DC area, the White House road was. They called it, I forgot they changed it to Black Lives Matter Parkway. Again, give you another thing that makes you feel the illusion of inclusion. You feel me? But it was like, yeah, it felt good to see black people unifying and saying you're welcome to the white people because they want to vote. Stop saying you're welcome. Start acknowledging why they have to be welcome and start saying, you know what? Y'all ain't shit without us. Y'all cannot do this shit without us. That creates a different demand. But it's like, as long as we still, you feel me? Now just think about this. We asked for justice for Breonna. We asked for justice for what was Elijah McClain, Sandra Bland. You know what? I don't want to go back too far. I'm just gonna stay in 2020. We got justice for them. What's it? Ahmaud Arbery. You feel me? This is 2020, bro. We asked for justice for all of these people and didn't get it. And yet we gave all of them our votes. I'm gonna leave it at that because the master reset is about to motherfucking happen. You feel me? At the end of the day, go kiss your babies. Make sure to before I say that shit, be sure to follow me on Instagram _just_scene_. Be sure to check out my website, IamJustScene.com, to get all things that Just Seen. Go kiss your babies. Make sure they eat their vegetables. And you, as an adult, if you got your babies, start to pay attention to how smart they are. Start to pay attention to how open they are. They are born under Aquarian energy. I have nieces and nephews that are fucking geniuses, and I'm so proud that I get to be around them and see them. Is because of the shit that I'm allowing them to open up and do it. I'm like, bro, these kids are different. You think it was one thing, the 90s kids, you think that was something different when you're in the indigo childs. What happens when you get a whole string of kids born under white auras because they're born purple. They're not born indigo. They're not indigo children. They're the white auras or they're the purple auras. They're the ones that are at Christ consciousness and above. You got to be ready for those. Those are going to be Aquarian. That's what they're trying to stop. This is why vaccines increased in the 90s. You feel me? To where we would have to get like one or two in like 80s babies probably got like 1 or 2 shots. Now kids are leaving out of the shots with 17. Out of the doctors like 17 shots. It's not an accident. Video games, they got enhanced. Like you become addicted to this shit. All of this shit is to keep you suppressed. Because if I keep your mind captive, the Aquarian age, you'll never be able to use the energy right. You feel me? So I say that to say this. Make sure that you're stimulating them correctly. Make sure that you are aware of your children and you don't suppress them. Let them be free. Let them be who they are. Let them be Aquarian. And when you'll see how developed your child is going to be, it's ahead of time. I'm seeing pictures. I'm seeing shit on people, shit like their babies are saying hi and shit at 2 months old. How? Aquarian, bro. I'm telling you, this shit is there. This is the master reset. So get ready. Go kiss your babies. Make sure they eat their vegetables. And I'm gonna see y'all all on the next one. Peace, love, knowledge, and freedom. I'm out.